Chapter 60. Prepare to fight. Five Claws roared as he raised his stone axe. Light the fires. A warrior shouted at his desolate slave. As the target of the attack, the stone tribe could only light up their side. Otherwise, they would not even know where the enemy was. In an instant, the people of the stone tribe quickly organized themselves and lit up their torches. However, at this moment, the people of the Oxhead tribe had already charged over. Bang! A muscular man stabbed a tribal warrior in the chest with a long wooden stick. The warrior spat out a mouthful of blood, his face filled with unwillingness. I only became a warrior last year, and I don't even have a son. I can't accept this, I can't accept this. Unfortunately, reality was cruel. The muscular man pulled out his wooden stick and stabbed the warrior again. This time, the warrior's vision turned black, and he died. For a moment, the entire tribe fell into chaos. Countless desolate slaves were chased, and the warriors fought with their lives on the line. This was especially true for Five Claws, who charged at the front under the protection of several warriors. Kill! 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 Everyone, follow me and kill the people of the Oxhead tribe. Five Claws was indeed strong. Facing the attacks of three warriors, he single-handedly cracked their heads. Then, he led his trusted subordinates and charged into the enemy group. No one was a match for him. Towards the end, when the Oxhead tribe fell, the ordinary warriors would hide when they saw him. Due to his small stature, Wang Zhong hid beside a corpse and watched everything unfold before him. Five Claws, Big Tooth, and the others are indeed very strong. These warriors have the right to be arrogant. However, they are still fighting in a very primitive state. None of them use their brains. Wang Zhong shook his head inwardly. For example, as the leader, Five Claws should have protected himself instead of charging at the front. Another example was the Oxhead tribe. They knew how to take advantage of the chaos to launch a sneak attack, but they did not know how to use the night to cover themselves. Were they all stupid? What made Xiao Chen even more speechless was that the Oxhead tribe's people were even more undisciplined than Five Claws. They only picked on the desolate slaves and servants that were easy to bully. Faced with the encirclement of the warriors of the Stone tribe, many of the Oxhead tribe's people died tragically. Moreover, Wang Zhong discovered that these people hadn't tamed horses yet. Otherwise, if the Bullhead tribe suddenly sent out a cavalry charge, Five Claws and the others wouldn't be able to do anything. Even though the situation was dire, Five Claws gradually calmed down. No one from the Minotaur tribe dared to pick a fight with him anymore. Many of them even ran away with the women and lambs they had stolen. Wang Zhong quietly ran over to the mute girl's side. He had been looking here and found that the mute girl was safe hiding in the waterhole, so he didn't come over. But then again, it was useless for him to come over. This tragic sneak attack finally ended with the Oxhead tribe robbing more than 30 sheep and more than 20 women. While the warriors were fighting, the desolate slaves and servants of the Oxhead tribe took the opportunity to rob them, causing the Stone tribe to suffer heavy losses. This time, both of Big Tooth's wives were snatched away. He was so angry that he almost went crazy. That night, no one in the tribe rested. The entire tribe was brightly lit by the light of the fire. Everyone was cleaning up the mess. As for the warriors, they went to Five Claws to discuss matters. Although the Oxhead tribe's attack had caused them to suffer a great loss, they couldn't just let it go. Otherwise, if other tribes found out, they would think that the Stone tribe was easy to bully. Wang Zhong didn't have the qualifications to know what the chief and the others were discussing. When dawn broke, he, the mute girl, and a few desolate slaves were eating potatoes. After eating, everyone continued to clean up the mess. Not long after, Big Tooth came back with his weapons. He glanced at Wang Zhong and the mute girl and shouted, "Come over here." A few desolate slaves and servants gathered around. Big Tooth counted, 1, 2, we still have 6 left, Wang Zhong said, knowing that Big Tooth didn't know how to count. Big Tooth was astonished. "You know how to count?" "Yeah, my wet nurse taught me before," Wang Zhong said casually. "Very good. This time we lost a lot of people, especially me. I lost my sheep, and you guys are the only ones left. But it doesn't matter. Big Tooth paused, stood up, and snorted. The Oxhead tribe thinks we're easy to bully, so we'll bully them. We'll let them know that we're not to be trifled with. Also, I want to take back my 2 wives. Big Tooth, what do you plan to do? Wang Zhong asked. Tonight, we'll attack the Oxhead tribe. You guys have to follow me and rob them. Big Tooth sneered. This is our chief's idea. He said that the Oxhead tribe robbed us, so they must be happy now. We have to catch them off guard. After saying that, Big Tooth waved his hand and said, Okay, you guys go and prepare. He didn't give Wang Zhong and the others any chance to speak. In his opinion, these people were just his slaves. Slaves didn't have the right to make decisions. After Wang Zhong, the mute girl, and the others left, a desolate slave said nervously, It's over, it's over. The war is about to start. Who knows how many people are going to die? Ah. The mute girl comforted the desolate slave, but she was also very nervous. Only Wang Zhong had a calm expression on his face. Was this a crisis? Indeed, this was a crisis. However, heroes were born in troubled times. Originally, Wang Zhong was only 5 years old. He really didn't have any way to make his life better. Because in this place, the only way to succeed was to become a warrior. However, the 5-year-old him couldn't become a warrior. Facing Big Bird, Big Tooth, and Big Axe, these people with evil intentions, he couldn't assassinate them one by one. Even if he killed one, a second or third Big Tooth would appear. If he was unlucky, the second or third Big Tooth might be even worse than this one. However, it was different in troubled times. He could rely on his brain. You guys wait here. I'll leave for a while. After Wang Zhong finished speaking, he walked towards Chief Five Claw's residence. At that moment, Five Claws was sitting around a table in his thatched hut with his 4 most valued sons and 5 elders. Chief, the Oxhead tribe is about 10 kilometers away from here. It's the distance from here to the quarry. Originally, there were 2 tribes, and their population was smaller than ours. However, due to yesterday's sandstorm and the attack at night, we suffered heavy casualties. A white-haired old man continued, Therefore, I think that we shouldn't attack them. Chief, I think that if we don't attack, we will be ridiculed by the other tribes. They will think that we are easy to bully. More and more tribes will bully us. Therefore, I think that we should attack the Oxhead tribe at night, even if both sides suffer heavy losses. Wang Zhong, who was at the door, was secretly delighted when he heard the conversation inside. Heroes were born in troubled times. He had to grasp this opportunity well. He wanted to lead the Stone tribe to victory for the first time. Dear brothers and sisters, in the next week, please flip to the last chapter of this book. The editor wants to read it and decide on future recommendation spots. It's really too difficult. On account of my pitifulness, please support me. If you have any opinions, please comment. Chapter 61. Leader, I think we should fight them and let them know how powerful we are. Leader, I think we should consider this at length. After all, we don't have enough people. The loss of food and population in the territory is too great. If we attack rashly, we will be too hasty. The surrounding people spoke one after another, making Five Claws feel irritated. At that moment, Fu Tu said, Father, I also think we should fight. We desolates are not afraid of death. Yes, we are not afraid of death. His sons expressed their opinions. Five Claws frowned. He was not a person who was bold but not astute. Otherwise, he would not have allowed his tribe to develop until now. Therefore, he was considering what to do next. At that moment, Wang Zhong walked in from outside. Leader. You blind thing. A desolate slave like you actually dares to come in. An elder stepped forward and kicked. Wang Zhong quickly dodged. The white-bearded elder raised his eyebrows. Good, you still dare to dodge. Leader, I have a way to deal with the Oxhead tribe, Wang Zhong quickly shouted. Everyone was stunned when they heard this. The white-bearded elder sneered, A brat who hasn't even grown out his hair dares to speak nonsense. You deserve to be beaten." After saying that, he charged over again. However, at that moment, Five Claws shouted, "Stop!" The white-bearded elder stopped and said, "Leader, this brat is not sensible. I'm afraid he is here to cause trouble." "Whether I'm here to cause trouble or not, it's not too late to make a conclusion after listening to what I have to say, right?" Wang Zhong's calm words made everyone look at him in a different light. They felt like they were not facing a child, but an adult. Seeing Five Claws sizing him up, Wang Zhong struck while the iron was hot. "Leader, please allow me to waste some of your time. I have a plan. Not only can we defeat the Oxhead tribe, but we can even annex it." Five Claws' eyes lit up as he said without hesitation, "Speak. However, if the plan doesn't work, I will kill you and treat you as a side dish." "All right." Wang Zhong was neither servile nor overbearing as he continued, "My plan is like this. Currently, we have 57 capable warriors and less than 200 strong attendants and desolate slaves. We only need—" Wang Zhong spoke a lot all of a sudden, causing the expressions of everyone in the room to constantly change. However, no one interrupted this child Wang Zhong, because they all felt that Wang Zhong's plan was indeed feasible. If carried out well, they might even be able to swallow up the entire Oxhead tribe. After talking for about half an hour, Wang Zhong concluded, "This plan, with our manpower, will need 5 days. During these 5 days, we'll rest during the day and carry out the plan at night. This will give the impression that we're admitting defeat." "Yes." Five Claws nodded slightly. "I remember you. Among the desolate slaves, you sharpened the stone saber the sharpest. I think you are called Blockhead." "Yes, leader." "Do you have any tricks for sharpening your knife? Why are you so good at grinding?" "Because I found the right angle and a suitable tool for sharpening," Wang Zhong explained. "Very good. You are the smartest desolate slave I've ever seen. If this plan succeeds, I'll allow you to become an attendant and no longer a desolate slave. However, if it fails, you can die." Wang Zhong took a deep breath and felt somewhat disappointed. Originally, he wanted to rely on this plan to become an elder. After leaving, everyone continued to pack up during the day, while the warriors went to Five Claws to discuss. When Big Tooth returned, he brought a large lamb leg and roared, "Blockhead!" "Big Tooth, what's the matter?" "Good lad. The leader just praised you. You really gave me face. This is a lamb leg. The leader is rewarding you." Big Tooth stuffed the lamb leg into Wang Zhong's hands, causing the surrounding desolate slaves and attendants to feel envious. They had never eaten such a large lamb leg in their lives. At most, they had drunk some lamb soup. "The leader gave it to me?" "Yes, the leader said that your plan is very good. However, I don't know much about those things. You can have this lamb leg." Big Tooth swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Although he wanted to take the lamb leg and eat it himself, he was afraid that he would be punished if the leader found out. He naturally did not dare to do so. "Thank you." In the afternoon, Wang Zhong got Mute Girl and the others to cook half of the lamb leg. He found a few desolate slaves and attendants that he had a good relationship with, and they ate the lamb together. "Blockhead, are you really letting us eat?" A desolate slave still could not believe that Blockhead was so generous to share the lamb. "Wasn't he too nice?" Wang Zhong nodded. "Eat. A child like me can't finish it." As he spoke, he scooped a big bowl for Mute Girl. Among them, Mute Girl treated him the best, so he naturally had to take care of her. After hearing Wang Zhong's words, the group happily ate. Those who did not know Wang Zhong said behind his back that Wang Zhong was a fool. He was definitely a retard for giving such good food to everyone. However, they did not know that Wang Zhong was just a child. What he needed now was everyone's help. If he took it all for himself, it would be stingy. If everyone saw that he had benefited, they would feel unbalanced. Now that he shared it, everyone would feel happy for Wang Zhong's encounter. This was called having good relations with others. In a situation where one was not very strong, having good relations with others was very important. If one encountered any problems in the future, they would be able to receive help. At night, the warriors led their subordinates to work in the desolate lands. Those who could not go out stayed at home and sharpened wood. Everyone in the tribe was working in an orderly manner. Blockhead, everyone said that you were the one who came up with the idea of striking the cow's head. Now, they are all saying that you are a smart blockhead. A desolate slave came over and laughed. Wang Zhong sharpened a piece of wood and nodded. Everyone, hurry up and get to work. This time, we will completely wipe out the cow's head tribe. When the time comes, everyone will have food to eat. Yes, yes, yes. The mute girl nodded repeatedly and excitedly said. During this time, the other tribes found out that the stone tribe did not retaliate after being attacked by the cow's head tribe. They all laughed at them. The stone tribe was full of cowards. The stone tribe was on the verge of collapse. They would find an opportunity to attack them. This was how the people of the desolate lands thought. The weak bullied the weak. This was especially true for the cow's head tribe. After this battle, their prestige had greatly increased. The chief of the cow's head tribe, Lu Niu, held a 2-day celebration. He even took Big Tooth's 2 wives for himself and prepared to have 2 more sons. However, in this peaceful environment, the people of the stone tribe worked hard every night. Finally, on the 5th day, 5 Claws, Big Tooth, and the others brought Wang Zhong to the foot of the hill where the cow's head tribe lived. Everyone, listen up. Kill a few people, steal their things, and leave. Do you understand? 5 Claws swept his gaze over the 20 warriors beside him. Yes, Chief. Good. Follow me. Charge. Chapter 62. Kill the 9-headed tribe. Charge. With a roar, 5 Claws swung his axe at the head of one of the warriors. Pfft. The warrior's head was directly split open. Stone. The stone tribe is here. The Minotaur tribe members immediately fell into chaos. 6 bulls rushed out of the largest building with 2 stone hammers in hand. Where are they? Where are they? Boss, they're over there. A warrior pointed in 5 Claws' direction. They killed 2 of our warriors. All of you go. Kill them all. With a backbone, the Minotaur tribe members immediately rushed over. 6 bulls, let's fight if you have the ability. 5 Claws shouted. What's there to be afraid of? Brothers, charge. Kill 5 Claws and annex the stone tribe. When the time comes, everyone will get a woman. As soon as 6 bulls' words came out, the warriors of the Minotaur tribe immediately became fanatical. They brandished their weapons and charged at 5 Claws. Let's go. 5 Claws' side didn't continue fighting. Several warriors picked up the lambs and ran out. Haha. 5 Claws is scared. Brothers, kill. Kill 5 Claws and I'll reward him with 5 oxen. The reason why the Minotaur tribe was called that was because they raised a lot of oxen. Hearing 6 bulls' promise, the warriors became excited. They raised their torches and chased after 5 Claws. Run, run, run. 5 Claws frantically ran away. The people around him raised their torches, as if they were deliberately luring 6 bulls to chase after them. 5 Claws looked like he was running, but when he had time, he would look back. He was very satisfied. These people had caught up. They had already fallen into his trap. The plan this time was based on Wang Zhong's. The plan was simple. They would send out a group of fast runners to harass the Minotaur tribe. After provoking them, they would immediately leave, luring them to chase after them. Haha. 5 Claws, run. Let's see where you can run to. Seeing 5 Claws group suddenly stop running, 6 bulls' face lit up with joy. Haha. 5 Claws, you can't run anymore? 6 bulls, I'll kill you. 5 Claws coldly said. 6 bulls giggled. So you only brought 20 people. Look at me, 60. You're dead for sure. Fight. 5 Claws roared. Lu Niu roared, kill. The warriors behind Lu Niu rushed out like a swarm of bees, but just as they ran 5 meters away from Wu Claw, the ground under their feet suddenly caved in, and they fell down one after another. It happened too suddenly, and the sky was dark, so the people at the back didn't even have time to react and fell down one after another. Poochie poochie. No one would have thought that there would be a 20-meter-long trap in front of the 6 oxen warriors. There were sharp wooden sticks stuck at the bottom of the trap. After these people fell in, they were all hit. These days, the people of the Stone Tribe had been digging this trap while it was dark. "Ah, save me!" A warrior's leg was pierced through and he screamed in pain. My butt has been pierced." This time, more than 20 warriors were hit, scaring Lu Niu and the others so much that they hurriedly retreated. "Five Claws, you purposely lured us here." Lu Niu reacted. Five Claws did not answer. At that moment, someone shouted from the side, "Release!" Swish swish swish. Sharp wooden sticks were thrown at Lu Niu's side. These were the masterpieces of the Stone Tribe, and also Wang Zhong's suggestion. They made more than 300 sharp wooden sticks. The desolate slaves and servants had long since hidden in ambush. Because the people of the Oxhead tribe were standing in a tight spot, many of them were hit and fell to the ground. "Run! Hurry up and run!" At this moment, Lu Niu finally reacted, but it was already too late. A wooden stick pierced through his back, causing him to lose the ability to move. Originally, there were more than 60 warriors here, but in the blink of an eye, only a dozen or so were left standing. At this moment, the warriors hiding behind Five Claws finally surrounded him. "Kill!" Five Claws roared and took the lead. He charged forward. In the wilderness, warriors would not become prisoners. They would either die or fight. Because even if these warriors surrendered, Five Claws wouldn't take them. The two sides clashed. Unfortunately, how could the Oxhead tribe, who originally had the advantage, be a match for Five Claws? The remaining dozen or so warriors were cut down one after another. The Oxhead tribe has a total of 80 warriors, but there are only 60 here. Their main camp doesn't have many warriors left. "Follow me. This time, I want to wipe out the Oxhead tribe." Five Claws raised Lu Niu's head in excitement. The warriors raised their weapons and roared, "Five Claws, Five Claws, Five Claws, Five Claws. Charge!" Right now, they had more than 50 warriors on their side. Dealing with the Oxhead tribe was more than enough. The battle didn't even last until daybreak. When the Oxhead tribe members saw their leader's head, the remaining warriors lost their heads and fled in panic. In the end, after killing 15 warriors, the remaining Oxhead tribe members all fled. As for the rest, they all knelt on the ground, trembling as they accepted Five Claws' inspection. The sky finally brightened. The elders of the Oxhead tribe were all pulled out and hacked to death one by one. Soon after, Five Claws spoke, "From now on, the Oxhead tribe no longer exists. You are all members of my Stone Tribe. If anyone is dissatisfied, these will be your fate." After saying this, Five Claws chopped off the head of the last elder. Did you hear that? In the wilderness, the scene of a murder was always cruel and bloody. The bloody scene in front of a group of people made many people tremble in fear. A large group of people stepped back together. "I support Chief Five Claws. Chief Five Claws is our true leader." An attendant was the first to speak up. "I support Five Claws. I support." More and more people spoke up. In this battle, the Stone Tribe only lost 8 warriors and annexed the entire Oxhead tribe. When the other tribes heard this news, they were shocked. The Stone Tribe was too strong. Everyone whispered in secret. They realized that the Stone Tribe wasn't to be trifled with. So, in order to establish good relations, many tribes sent many gifts to Five Claws, causing him to laugh heartily. As for Wang Zhong, Five Claws didn't go back on his promise. He let him become an attendant and even rewarded him with a piece of land, a cow, and a sheep. This time, almost everyone in the tribe recognized Wang Zhong. They knew his intelligence wasn't inferior to the elders. So, in private, many people called him a smart blockhead. Many even believed he would become an elder when he grew up. Wang Zhong naturally wasn't satisfied with being an attendant. But at present, there was nothing he could do. In the end, he was still a child. But no matter what, his life improved a lot. He no longer had to work in the quarry because the Oxhead tribe had many desolate slaves. This labor force was enough. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed. Chapter 63. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. This year, Wang Zhong was already 8 years old, and the mute girl was 12 years old. Thinking back to the past 3 years, things were much better than before. First of all, even Big Tooth was polite to him. After all, everyone knew that it was because of Wang Zhong's plan that their tribe had obtained a complete victory over the Oxhead tribe. If they bullied Wang Zhong, wouldn't they be going against the entire tribe? Over the past 3 years, Wang Zhong reared his cow and sheep. He was also given a small house. Beside the house, he got someone to help dig a cesspool for him to use as a toilet. He did not need to be like the desolates of the past, who urinated and defecated everywhere. The elder in charge of distributing the land took good care of him. He gave him a piece of land behind the house. It was about 2 acres of land. Looking at this piece of land, Wang Zhong shook his head and laughed. Why was he farming in every life? Was he related to farming in this life? Due to his good relations with others, many people came to help Wang Zhong farm, especially the mute girl. Although she was still Big Tooth's desolate slave, she would come over every time she finished her work for Big Tooth. She would also stay there at night. In the first year, the harvest was pretty good. The 2 acres of land were harvested very well under Wang Zhong's care. He could not finish it alone, so he gave his potatoes to many people. He won a lot of praise and gratitude. In the second year, Wang Zhong's cow and you gave birth to 2 calves and 5 lambs respectively. His personal wealth increased by several times, attracting the envy of many attendants. Many female attendants secretly wanted to marry Wang Zhong when they grew up. However, they were disappointed that the mute girl would stay at Wang Zhong's house every night. This made them feel very unbalanced. The desolate slaves were not the only ones who liked Wang Zhong. Even the 3 female warriors found Big Tooth and wanted to buy Wang Zhong. They wanted Wang Zhong to become their attendant and serve them at night. Unfortunately, Wang Zhong was also very important to Big Tooth. With Wang Zhong's help, Big Tooth's few plots of land had a good harvest. Especially at the end of every year, Wang Zhong would contribute cattle and sheep to Big Tooth, so Big Tooth did not sell them. In the third year, many people saw that Wang Zhong's land grew better than theirs, so they all asked Wang Zhong how to plant. Wang Zhong did not refuse any of them. He explained to them how to use water and soil reasonably to make crops grow well. After these methods were disseminated, sure enough, everyone's output in the 4th year was better than in previous years. Therefore, the people in the tribe were even more convinced by Wang Zhong. They all praised him for being an elder, because only elders and chiefs could be so smart. Unknowingly, Wang Zhong's nickname changed from Smart Blockhead to Farmer Expert. Over the years, other than farming and rearing cattle and sheep, Wang Zhong did not neglect his own training. When he was free, he even trained the mute girl. Now, the mute girl could make simple sounds. Under Wang Zhong's training, she learned some self-defense skills. This year, Wang Zhong was 8 years old. He finally brought the 2 lambs to Big Tooth's place. Big Tooth, Wang Zhong shouted as he entered the house. Isn't this Blockhead my most outstanding attendant? Big Tooth smiled. As an attendant, Wang Zhong usually gave him the most products. He naturally liked Wang Zhong very much. Why are you looking for me? Big Tooth asked. It's like this. I like the mute girl and want to buy her. Big Tooth looked at the 2 lambs beside Wang Zhong and frowned. To be honest, although he wanted to sell the mute girl in the past, he did not want to do so after she learned how to work. Firstly, the mute girl could work. Secondly, the mute girl was very beautiful. He originally wanted to wait for the mute girl to grow up so that she could give birth to children. But now, Wang Zhong already had 2 lambs. This was not a small fortune. Blockhead, Since you like the mute girl, then I'll sell her to you. But 2 lambs are too little. Big Tooth said cunningly. Wang Zhong smiled in his heart. As long as they could negotiate, he would not worry. In the end, Wang Zhong bought the mute girl at the price of 2 cows. The peaceful days passed by one day. The next year, the annual warrior assessment finally arrived. In the past, the warrior assessment was based on how many enemies were killed. Some were based on how many wolves were killed in the forest. But this year was different. This time, Chief Five Claw's most valued son, Axe, would also participate in the assessment. Big Bird, who did not participate in the assessment a few years ago, and Five Claw's other 2 sons would also participate. So this time, there were more people participating in the assessment. Big Tooth prepared to let them fight in the arena. The top 20 winners would become warriors of the tribe. Originally, this assessment had nothing to do with Wang Zhong. Because so many years had passed, Axe, who was interested in the mute girl, did not come looking for her. Instead, it was said that Axe had found a few attendants to be his partners. So, Wang Zhong did not take the risk to deal with him. But he did not expect that on the night before the assessment, Big Tooth would come looking for Wang Zhong. Blockhead, I want to talk to you. Big Tooth came to Wang Zhong's door with a deep look on his face. What is it, Big Tooth? Wang Zhong walked out and asked. Axe just came looking for me. He said that he likes the mute girl. When he becomes a warrior, Chief will give the mute girl to Axe. Big Tooth, you already sold the mute girl to me. Wang Zhong said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone. So what? Don't forget, this is Chief's order. Even if Chief wants you to die, you have to die. Big Tooth said bluntly. Is that so? Wang Zhong lowered his head and revealed an imperceptible smile. Then, what if I let the mute girl become a warrior? There was a rule in the tribe that if a woman wanted to become a warrior, she could not get married before the age of 16. This was to prevent women from losing their ability to fight after giving birth. After becoming a warrior, a woman could decide on her own marriage. She could even have a few slaves or attendants to be her husband, and these people had to be obedient. But although there was this rule, there were not many female warriors in the tribe. There were only 3 of them, and each of them was fat and strong. Every night, they had at least 3 husbands to accompany them. Ha ha. After hearing Wang Zhong's words, Big Tooth laughed so hard that his teeth almost fell out. Blockhead, I know you like the mute girl, but to let a little girl participate in the warrior assessment, honestly speaking, she can't do it. Is that so? Whether she can or not, we'll talk about it later. Wang Zhong's calm words angered Big Tooth. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I've already said it. If you have any problems in the future, you can explain it to Chief yourself. Big Tooth waved his hand and left. Once he left, the mute girl walked out. She was already 14 years old. She was originally thin and weak, but after Wang Zhong's care and training, she had become extremely tall. The muscles on her arms and legs were especially well proportioned. Blockhead. The mute girl looked deeply at Big Tooth's back. Oh my. I want to participate in the warrior assessment. Chapter 64. Woo Woo. Woo Woo. As the 2 warriors from the stone tribe blew the huge horn, a deafening sound came from the sky above the tribe. On this day, the entire tribe gathered in the huge square in the middle of the tribe. Today was the annual warrior assessment. Every year this year, anyone between the ages of 14 and 16 who had confidence would participate in the assessment. Whoever won the assessment would become a respected warrior. Of course, if you were confident, you could participate at the age of 13 or even 10. But basically no one would do that. Although this kind of assessment wouldn't take a person's life, if the other party had a grudge against you, or if they didn't like you, and you were seriously injured, then it would be troublesome. This time, there were more than 40 young people participating in the assessment. 2 women also participated. The rules were simple. Everyone would choose an opponent to fight. Whoever was beaten until they could not stand up would lose. Of course, the loser could still participate in the assessment the next year. There were no restrictions. You could use your hands and feet, but you could not use weapons. After all, the tribe did not have a large population and could not afford to lose too many people. This time, Wang Zhong and the mute girl came to watch. The competition was very intense. Some people used all their strength to defeat their opponents. To Wang Zhong's surprise, the big bird had also made an appearance this time. This guy had blisters on his feet because of his father when he was young. Since then, he had been limping. He had not seen him for a long time. He did not expect him to become so strong. Now, Big Bird's face was gloomy. He was very ruthless and broke a servant's leg. After a while, it was finally Wu Zhua's son's turn. This person was called Tiger. Although he was Fu Tu's brother, he was much thinner. He chose an ordinary person. Although he won, no one admired him. This made his face very ugly. Fu Tu finally went up. He could be said to be the strongest person here. As soon as he went up, he pointed at the strongest person and shouted, "Come on." This person's face turned pale. No one wanted to meet Fu Tu, but he had no choice. He also wanted to win and become a warrior. So he gritted his teeth and went up. Almost as soon as they touched, Fu Tu sent him flying with a kick. This person was in so much pain that he rolled on the ground. He could only beg for mercy and admit defeat. Fu Tu, Fu Tu, Fu Tu. A group of Fu Tu's followers shouted excitedly. Five Claws smiled and nodded slightly. He was proud of his son. Wang Zhong glanced at Fu Tu's brothers. Sure enough, their faces were gloomy. This was especially true for Tiger. He was Fu Tu's older brother, but because of his thin and weak appearance, his father would always give everything to Fu Tu first. This made him very unhappy. Tiger, congratulations on becoming a warrior. Tiger was thinking about how to win his father's favor when a cold voice came from behind him. Mu Tu. Tiger recognized Mu Tu, the famous farmer in the tribe. Although Wang Zhong wasn't even 10 years old, he was already very tall. Many years of farming had made his face no longer tender, and he looked like a little adult. Tiger was quite polite to some of the famous people in the tribe. He was not as arrogant and overbearing as Axe. He nodded slightly and said, "Blockhead, in a few years you will also participate in the warrior assessment." "Yes. Unfortunately, no one taught me how to fight." Wang Zhong sighed. "Your master is Big Tooth. Didn't he teach you?" "Big Tooth is old. He only knows how to drink and eat meat." "Blockhead, it's not good for you to talk about your master like that behind his back." "Oh, sorry. It's my fault. But then again, I only said that because I see you as a good friend. Tiger, if possible, teach me how to fight in the future. When I become a warrior, I am willing to pledge my loyalty to you." Wang Zhong emphasized the word, "pledge your loyalty." Tiger raised his eyebrows. He was no longer a child. Naturally, he understood the meaning behind Wang Zhong's words. To Tiger, as the eldest son of the chief, what was the most important thing? It was nothing more than his father's position. He wanted to become 6 Claws in the future. But currently, 5 Claws clearly had the intention of supporting Axe. He didn't ask much about him, so most of the elders and warriors stood on Axe's side. This made Tiger very unhappy, thinking that more friends meant more options. This servant, Blockhead, was not an ordinary servant. His intelligence was not inferior to those elders. Tiger nodded slightly and said, "Blockhead, if you have any problems in the future, you can come to me." "Got it. There's no need to stay here. Come to my place. I'll treat you to some goat milk wine. I made it myself." "All right." The two of them walked in front, with Tiger's servants and desolate slaves following behind. After entering the house, Wang Zhong took out the goat milk wine he had brewed a few months ago. In fact, he did not know how to brew it in the beginning. Later, he learned from some desolate slaves. "Tiger, eat up. This is the mutton soup I made. It's a roasted mutton leg." Wang Zhong's hospitality surprised Tiger. Hence, He got the servants to wait outside while he ate and drank with Wang Zhong. It had to be said that Wang Zhong's culinary skills, which he had honed over several lifetimes, were pretty good. Tiger ate until his mouth was full of oil and he was very satisfied. After 3 rounds of drinking, Tiger's eyes were hazy from drinking. He also became more talkative. As the two of them chatted, Wang Zhong brought the topic to Axe. Tiger, it's not that I want to say this, but I really feel that it's unfair for you. As the elder brother, Axe doesn't even look you in the eye. It's really infuriating. After Wang Zhong said that, he glanced at Tiger and said, "Don't mind him. I'm still young. Look, there are some things that come out when I drink too much. Humph. It's fine. In any case, the entire tribe knows about this. Who asked my Ada to like him? Who asked that fellow to be so arrogant?" Tiger said coldly, "Hey, if this goes on, to be honest, your position, cough, cough. It's fine. Pa." Tiger slammed the table and said, "I hate people who hesitate the most. If you want to say it, just say it. Does that mean that Maya Da's position will not be mine in the future?" Tiger was too young. Once provoked, he actually blurted it out. However, Wang Zhong did not go overboard with his words. After all, it was still early. Right now, he was just adding a thorn between Tiger and Axe. "Blockhead, don't worry. I know what you people are thinking. I heard that Axe has taken a fancy to your favorite mute girl, right?" Tiger took a sip of the goat milk wine and said shrewdly, "Do you really think that I'm drunk?" Since the topic was out in the open, Wang Zhong said, "You're right. Axe has taken a fancy to the mute girl, but I don't want to give her to him. I hope that you can help me, and I will find a way to help you become the chief. It's a new week. This week is very important. I want to show some results to the editor to decide on the next recommendation spot. Looking for recommendation tickets. Thank you very much." Chapter 65. Sure. Tiger agreed without any hesitation. His chubby face revealed a look of joy. To him, Blockhead's intelligence was not inferior to an elder's. Perhaps Blockhead could really think of a good idea for him. "Tell me, what should I do next?" "Blockhead, I can guarantee you that when I become 6 claws, I will make you an elder. Not only will I give you the mute girl, even if you want my wife, I will not frown." Wang Zhong did not take Tiger's empty promise seriously. They were both smart people. If he believed Tiger, he would be a fool. However, at this time, he had to appear very happy so that Tiger would trust him. Wang Zhong said happily, "Thank you very much. My idea is very simple. Isn't there a hunt in a few days? Invite him into the forest and find an opportunity to kill him." Tiger shrank back and was a little scared. "No, I fought with him before. I can't beat him." Wang Zhong took out a small pile of powder wrapped in sheepskin. He had picked a bunch of poisonous mushrooms, dried them and chopped them into powder. "I know you can't beat him, so I have to use this." "What is this?" "Eating it will make Fu Tu's stomach ache. Find an opportunity to put this in Fu Tu's bamboo tube. Once he drinks the water, his stomach will ache and he will not be able to beat you." Although the poisonous mushroom could not kill, it could make one's stomach ache. Therefore, it was still useful to Wang Zhong. Tiger was delighted. "It really can make one's stomach ache. If you don't believe me, give the desolate slave some to eat." "All right." Tiger carefully put away the sheepskin. "Blockhead, I'll be friends with you. Wait for my good news during the hunt in a few days. Be careful. Don't give yourself away." Wang Zhong could not help but remind Tiger. If he were to do this himself, he had 100% confidence. Unfortunately, he could not get close to Fu Tu, so he could only let Tiger do it. Tiger left in a drunken stupor. The next day, Wang Zhong heard the mute girl run over and say that one of Tiger's desolate slaves had a stomach ache the entire afternoon. Wang Zhong knew that Tiger was testing the effects of the medicine. In fact, Wang Zhong had experimented with it himself. In the past, He had secretly given it to the people on Big Bird's side a few times. He found that the effect of the drug usually took effect after half an hour. The time of effect depended on the dosage. The greater the dosage, the longer the pain would last. However, it would only hurt, and the poison wouldn't kill him. This was what Wang Zhong felt the most regretful about. In the afternoon, Axe came looking for him. Blockhead. Honored guest. Wang Zhong came out to greet him. Although he didn't like axes, he still had to maintain his image. You little kid, you're as fake as those adults. Fu Tu glanced at Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong smiled. He had secretly observed Fu Tu and knew that he was a straightforward person who did not like to beat around the bush. He was not surprised that Fu Tu would say something like that. Axe, why are you here with a child like me today? Wang Zhong asked. Big Tooth said that the mute girl is with you. Fu Tu looked around the room and said bluntly, I like the mute girl. The leader said that as long as I become a warrior, he will give the mute girl to me. Is that so? Wang Zhong's expression was calm. But the mute girl likes me. I'm fine. You must have the mute girl? Yes, I liked her when I was young. It's the same now. Hand her over and I'll leave immediately. Otherwise. Fu Tu stared at Wang Zhong expressionlessly. Blockhead, I know you're smart, but so what? Compared to my fists, you're weak. Alright, but the mute girl will be participating in the warrior assessment next year. According to the rules, she can't get married. Are you trying to stall for time? Fu Tu reacted and mocked. The mute girl is so thin. She's suitable for sleeping with men. She's not suitable for battle. Do you know that? If you try to stall for time, you'll only kill her. Is that so? Humph, any random man outside can kill her with one punch. She wants to be a warrior. In my opinion, this is your idea. Wang Zhong poured himself a cup of mutton milk wine and changed the topic. Fu Tu, have a drink. No need, blockhead. I respect your intelligence. Ada didn't allow me to be angry with you, but I definitely want the mute girl. There's no room for discussion. Although you can let her participate in the warrior assessment, you can only protect her for 2 years. After 2 years, I can still get her. That's it, you're on your own. After Fu Tu finished speaking, he left without leaving any face. This was his personality. In the entire tribe, Fu Tu only respected his father. When interacting with others, he only believed in his fists. He was a very simple person. Looking at the mutton milk wine on the table, Wang Zhong closed his eyes. Fu Tu, although reckless, was the kind of person who was the hardest to deal with. Because they only believed in their fists, if you want to make him submit, you have to kill him. Tiger, I hope you don't disappoint me, Wang Zhong said in his heart. Mu Tu. At this time, the mute girl walked out from behind and spoke in an obscure voice. You heard everything? Yes, no, if it's okay, let's run. No need. This time, we must make Fu Tu die. 5 days later, it was the day of the warriors' hunt. This time, the main hunters were the new warriors from a few days ago. 5 Claws would lead these new warriors into the forest to fight with the wolf pack. This was also one of his training for the warriors. After all, warriors who had never seen blood could not be considered true warriors. 5 Claws brought a total of 30 warriors. Each warrior was accompanied by 1 or 2 attendants in case of any accidents. These people set off early in the morning. Wang Zhong looked at their backs as they left. It was impossible for him not to feel nervous. Today was the day Tiger and Fu Tu fought. If he succeeded, everything would be fine. In the future, his enemy would be 5 Claws. If he were to fail, Wang Zhong practiced what would happen if he failed. There were only 2 possibilities. 1. Tiger would die before he could betray him. The other, Tiger would betray him. It's still a little rushed, but there's no other way. Wang Zhong frowned. He felt a little uneasy. The sun finally set. From afar, Wang Zhong saw a group of people running back. Catch Mu too. Five Claws came back and shouted. Wang Zhong was in the crowd. His expression changed. Just as he wanted to run, a few people caught Wang Zhong. Plop! A corpse was thrown in front of Wang Zhong, who was kneeling. Wang Zhong glanced at it and his heart sank. The corpse was Tiger's. His entire body had been beaten beyond recognition, and he had already breathed his last. Mu too, you actually instigated Tiger to attack me. Ha ha ha, you're good. But you're so smart that you didn't expect it. Tiger, this fool, was discovered by his attendants when he was drugging me. Fu Tu walked out of the crowd and sneered. Chapter 66. Five Claws walked over to Wang Zhong with a pained expression on his face. Blockhead, other than Axe, you're my favorite child. I never thought that you would betray us. I, Five Claws, hate traitors the most in my life. Wu Zhua, I can explain. Wang Zhong hurriedly said, this is a misunderstanding. Ha ha, Blockhead, I beat Tiger into submission before he died. He said you liked Mute and didn't want her to marry me, so you wanted me dead. Fu Tu sneered. That's his nonsense. Blockhead, don't quibble. I know what my son is like. With Tiger's brain, he wouldn't be able to create such a thing. Wu Zhua walked over and stepped on Wang Zhong's 9-year-old body. He threw a bottle of powder in front of Wang Zhong. You were the one who gave this to him. No. Wang Zhong gritted his teeth. Chief, I found this in Blockhead's house. At this moment, Big Teeth ran out and said with the remaining 3 bottles. What else do you have to say? Wu Zhua asked. There's nothing to say to him. Since Blockhead wants to kill me, I'll give him a chance. Please allow me to fight with Blockhead. Fu Tu stood up and said, Okay. Five Claws nodded and threw a stone knife in front of Wang Zhong. When I, Five Claws, do things, I always distinguish between gratitude and grudges. You have contributed to the tribe, so I will give you one last chance. If you can kill Fu Tu, I have nothing to say and will spare your life. But if you can't, then die. After saying that, he looked around and roared, Did you hear that? Yes. Wang Zhong struggled to get up. He actually understood that Wu Zhua wasn't letting him live. He had indeed contributed to the tribe, so Wu Zhua couldn't just kill him. Otherwise, the others would be disappointed. Therefore, he used this method and threatened to give him one last chance. This was the most common way to solve conflicts in the tribe. Even if he died, no one could say anything. But the key point was that he was only 9 years old. Even though he had been practicing martial arts hard these days, but brute force could break 10,000 moves. No matter how powerful a move was, it would be courting death in the face of absolute strength. The people around him felt some sympathy, some pity, and some gloated at Wang Zhong, but no one said a word. Pick up your weapons. Axe and Five Claws were the same. They both used stone axes. Wang Zhong struggled to lift the stone knife. At this time, Fu Tu rushed over. When you die, the mute girl will be mine. The stone axe fiercely chopped down. Wang Zhong frowned. The stone saber was too heavy. If he held the stone saber now, he would not be able to dodge. Therefore, he could only throw away the stone knife and take out a small stone knife that was 10 centimeters long from his waist. Ha, Blockhead, you want to use this against me? Fu Tu laughed. The stone axe in his hand chopped down. Without a doubt, with such a stone axe, Wang Zhong knew that he would definitely die in one move. So he could only rely on his speed to deal with the axe. Dodging the stone axe, Wang Zhong suddenly accelerated. His nimble body rolled behind Fu Tu. The stone saber fiercely stabbed at Fu Tu's foot. Puchi! The stone saber stabbed. Fu Tu trembled in pain. He clenched his teeth and said, You damn rat, you think I can't deal with you? Fu Tu held the stone axe and fiercely swung it. Wang Zhong's face changed and quickly lay down. But at this time, he revealed his weakness. Fu Tu took the opportunity and stepped on Wang Zhong's back. Haha, let's see where you can run. Abba abba. At this time, the mute girl suddenly rushed out from the crowd. Mute girl, you will be mine in the future. I want you to give me 10 sons. Fu Tu looked at the mute girl rushing over. His face was ferocious. Blockhead, if you die, I will put your head in front of our tribe's door. Ha ha ha. With that, the stone axe chopped down. Blockhead. In a moment of desperation, the mute girl suddenly shouted. With tears in her eyes, she rushed over to Wang Zhong's body. Pooh! The stone axe sank into the mute girl's back. The mute girl's neck was completely cut off. A large mouthful of blood sprayed on Wang Zhong's head. Feeling the warm blood, Wang Zhong quickly stood up. Mute girl, run. The mute girl spat out the last word with difficulty. Her hand drooped down slightly. Her eyes were wide open and she was no longer breathing. Mute girl. Fu Tu looked at this scene in disbelief. He roared, "You would rather die for him than be with me. What is so good about this blockhead?" With that, he kicked Wang Zhong's body and swung his stone axe. King die for me. In the next moment, Wang Zhong felt himself flying. As he flew, he inadvertently looked at the place where he had been lying. He saw that his body was still in the same place. Blood was spurting out from his neck. My head has been chopped off. My life is over. Wang Zhong closed his eyes. Reborn character Blockhead has died. Game over. 1,000 experience points dropped. Looking at the blood-red words in front of him, Wang Zhong could only hear Fu Tu's angry roar. I'm dead. Wang Zhong, who was lying on the hospital bed, reached out his right hand and touched his neck. F***ck, the feeling of being beheaded really doesn't feel good. Then, Wang Zhong concluded that in this game, he had underestimated Tiger. He had been too cautious. He had poisoned Tiger and was discovered by his servant. Most importantly, that servant was Fu Tu's man and had betrayed Tiger. It seems that Fu Tu is quite capable. I'm afraid that many people around Tiger are his men. Wang Zhong thought to himself. Then, he glanced at his experience points. This time, after losing 1,000 experience points, he only had 4,323 experience points left. In other words, he still had 4 chances to clear the threshold of being killed before the age of 10. Of course, he could also choose to give the mute girl to Fu Tu. That way, he could live a peaceful life. When he was about 14, he could become a warrior and slowly take control of the tribe. But the problem was that although he was not interested in women, he could not do something like giving away his daughter. When it came to his own women, he still cared about them. Tiger is too brainless. Who should I start with next to Fu Tu? Wang Zhong thought. Chapter 67. Among the people who were going to hunt, Fu Tu's brother was called Denyo. The problem was that Denyo had a mild personality. He was the mild type. Wang Zhong had observed him before. To him, it did not matter who the leader was as long as it did not affect his interests. Therefore, he could not communicate with Denyo. So, the only one left was Denyo. Forget it, I'd better not provoke Fu Tu this time. Anyway, Mute Girl will participate in the warrior assessment. With my prestige, I believe 5 claws will give me some face. Thinking of this, Wang Zhong entered the game once again. No, sister is already dead. I can only cut her stomach open. Wah 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 wah. Mute Girl, move away. Otherwise, sister's child will die too. The familiar voice rang in his ears again. Then, Wang Zhong felt his body turn cold. Just like in his previous life, he was having a cesarean section again. In his previous life, the plot had developed quite well, so Wang Zhong did not choose to change the plot. He stumbled until the day when the big bird asked him to fetch water. Wang Zhong and the mute girl fetched the water and brought some poisonous mushrooms along with them. Wang Zhong once again let the big bird taste the feeling of being beaten by Ada. After that, the big bird did not harass them again. In fact, Wang Zhong had thought of giving Fu Tu some poisonous mushrooms while he was still young. He might even kill him in advance. However, after some observation, Fu Tu had been with his mother since he was young. His mother was also a warrior. She was even stronger than Five Claws. Her muscles could definitely crush him when he was young. Seeing that he could not get close to Fu Tu, Wang Zhong could only give up on the idea. Then, he remembered that Fu Tu had met Mute Girl in the quarry, which led to the subsequent events. Then, he just had to change the plot in advance. As long as he did not let Fu Tu see Mute Girl, or make her uglier. The day finally arrived. Fu Tu followed Five Claws to patrol the quarry as usual. Today, the Mute Girl had been chased away by Wang Zhong to the place where she fetched water. He had sent her away, so Fu Tu did not see the Mute Girl. What Wang Zhong did not expect was that when the axe arrived in front of Wang Zhong, it stopped and asked, "Where is the Mute Girl?" The wet nurse hadn't died yet in this life. She lowered her head and replied, "We don't have any water here. The Mute Girl went to get some." "Oh, I see." Fu Tu nodded. "Axe, is the girl you like mute?" Five Claws asked. "Yes. Although he's mute, he's very good-looking," Axe replied. "It's a pity that she's a mute. A mute is not qualified to be your first wife. Do you understand? Furthermore, she is only a desolate slave." Five Claws said the same words as he did in his previous life. Then, he added coldly, "Don't forget, you're the future Six Claws. You'll lead the entire stone tribe." "I'm sorry, Ada." Fu Tu lowered his head in panic. "Don't worry, you're still young, only 10 years old. You'll have plenty of time to learn in the future." Five Claws patted Fu Tu's shoulder. "After you get married, as long as you can become a warrior of the tribe, I'll give her to you." After the two finished speaking, they left the place. Wang Zhong's expression turned ugly. He had carefully avoided the Mute Girl and Fu Tu's meeting, but he never expected that it would end up like this. From the looks of it, Fu Tu didn't meet the Mute Girl today, but a long time ago. It's a pity that I don't know which day it was. Otherwise, I could avoid meeting the two of them. Wang Zhong secretly felt that it was a pity. After that, Wang Zhong knew that there would be a sandstorm in the evening. Hence, after returning, he deliberately found the wet nurse and said that he saw someone stealing potatoes from the Big Tooth's field. "Ah, someone is stealing potatoes. Quickly go and take a look." The wet nurse hurriedly ran out with a group of people. Potatoes were extremely important food for desolate slaves. If they were stolen, it meant that they would starve. This was why the wet nurse was so anxious. The group of people ran out. When the wet nurse saw that there was no one in the field, she curiously asked, "Blockhead, where are they?" She did not blame Wang Zhong because she knew that Wang Zhong was usually very obedient, unlike other children who were mischievous. Just as she finished speaking, the Mute Girl pointed behind her in horror. "Ah ba ba. Ah, sandstorm, sandstorm." Someone pointed in the direction of the tribe and shouted. The wet nurse's face turned pale as she said to Wang Zhong, "Blockhead, you knew that a sandstorm was coming?" Of course, Wang Zhong would not admit it. He blankly shook his head. "I didn't know. Luckily you let me come. Otherwise, it would have been troublesome." The wet nurse did not think too much about what had happened. Her face was still filled with lingering fear. In this life, the wet nurse did not die. Just like in his previous life, the ox-headed tribe attacked at night, and Wang Zhong came up with a plan. It was not that Wang Zhong wanted to help Five Claws, but if he did not do so, their stone tribe would be attacked by other tribes. Their future days would be even more miserable. He guessed that the original blockhead met this turning point. In the following days, the tribe was constantly harassed. In the end, the Mute Girl was kidnapped, so the Mute Girl went missing. So he had to come up with a plan to at least let him live a better life before he turned 10. The ox-headed tribe was finally defeated. 3 years later, everyone called Wang Zhong smart blockhead behind his back, and some called him a little farming expert. But this time, Wang Zhong did not contact Tiger. He was prepared to endure for 2 years and let the mute girl become a warrior. The days of the assessment finally ended. Tiger, Axe, and the others successfully became warriors. A few days later, Five Claws led a group of new warriors and prepared to go hunting. Wang Zhong looked at the leaving crowd and thought about his next plan. How should he solve the current biggest problem, Axe, Blockhead, harvest the potatoes? The mute girl walked over and said. The wet nurse followed behind and nodded. Blockhead, it's going to rain heavily in a few days. Harvest the potatoes. Okay. Wang Zhong did not care about Axe and went back to harvest the potatoes. But at night, Five Claws came back with Tiger's head as usual. When he came back, he threw Tiger's head at the entrance of the tribe and shouted, Blockhead, bring him out. At this time, Wang Zhong, the wet nurse, mute girl, and the others had just finished harvesting the potatoes when he saw Big Teeth and 2 warriors standing in front of his house. Why is Big Teeth waiting at your house? The wet nurse was curious. Not sure. Wang Zhong frowned and walked over, shouting, Big Teeth, why are you looking for me? Blockhead, Tiger just died. Big Teeth said coldly. What? He's dead? Wang Zhong was stunned. In this life, he and Tiger had never interacted. They had only chatted a few times. How could Tiger be dead just like in his previous life? After Wang Zhong recovered from his shock, he secretly thought that this matter had nothing to do with him anyway. He nodded and said, He's dead. Why are you looking for me? You brat, this time you're in big trouble. Big Teeth firmly grabbed Wang Zhong's neck. Let's go, Chief and Axe are looking for you. Chapter 68. Plop. Big Teeth easily threw Wang Zhong in front of Five Claws. Chief, I've brought Blockhead. Chief, why are you doing this to me for no reason? Wang Zhong asked with his head held high. On the way here, he had repeatedly confirmed that he had not made any mistakes, but why did Five Claws want Big Teeth to catch him? What was the reason? One thing was for sure. Based on his previous contributions and his performance in the tribe over the years, logically speaking, Five Claws shouldn't be targeting him. Blockhead, you are my favorite child besides my son Fu too, but this time, you have disappointed me. Five Claws was expressionless as he pointed at Tiger's corpse. You actually conspired with Tiger to kill my son Fu too. What? Wang Zhong was stunned. Almost instantly, Wang Zhong reacted. This was framing, definitely framing. In this life, he had never mentioned anything to Tiger, so why would Five Claws say this? Wang Zhong carefully looked at Five Claws' expression and found that Five Claws was frowning and looking at him with disappointment. It was obvious that Five Claws was not lying. Then why? Who was framing him? In that instant, Wang Zhong seriously thought about every single person he came into contact with. Big Teeth, Wet Nurse, Big Bird, Fu Tu. Suddenly, Wang Zhong had a flash of inspiration. Who would benefit the most from killing Tiger and then dealing with him? Without a doubt, it would be Fu Tu. Tiger was Five Claws' eldest son after all. If Tiger was not dead, Fu Tu would have to rely on Tiger to become the chief of the tribe. But now that Tiger was dead, Fu Tu could rightfully become the chief of the tribe. As for Fu Tu, although he was not a threat to Fu Tu was smart and was called a smart blockhead by many people. In addition, only if he died, Fu Tu could get the mute girl in advance. Wow, this cunning Fu Tu, so this was his plan. In fact, regardless of whether he had conspired with Tiger or not, Fu Tu was already prepared to get rid of him. Blockhead, what else do you have to say? You colluded with my brother and actually wanted to kill me. If I hadn't dodged quickly, I'm afraid I would have already died in that forest. Fu Tu revealed a wound on his arm as he spoke malevolently. Ha, if you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. Wang Zhong shook his head. This blockhead is indeed the smartest kid in our tribe. He still wants to quibble at this time. Fu Tu walked over to Five Claws. Since Blockhead wants to kill me, I'll give him the chance. Please allow me to fight Blockhead. It was actually the same as his previous life. Wang Zhong's expression was ugly. At this moment, Five Claws nodded and threw a stone knife in front of Wang Zhong. I, Five Claws, have always made a clear distinction between gratitude and grudges. You have contributed to the tribe, so I'll give you one last chance. If you can kill Fu Tu, I have nothing to say and will spare your life. But if you can't, then die. Then, without waiting for Wang Zhong to continue speaking, Fu Tu charged towards him. Wang Zhong did not take out his stone knife. Instead, he pulled out his own small stone knife and charged towards Fu Tu. Bang! Fu Tu chopped down beside Wang Zhong's feet. The huge force caused a loud explosion. Wang Zhong's hair stood on end. This guy's strength was really too strong. Blockhead, don't dodge if you have the ability. Fu Tu roared and swung his stone axe. It was this move again. Wang Zhong remembered very clearly that in his previous life, this was the same move. Although he dodged this move, his movements were restricted and he was defeated by Fu Tu. This time, he dodged in the opposite direction. Fu Tu raised his eyebrows. Not bad, you're actually so slippery. Although he said that, in fact, Fu Tu's killing intent was even stronger. This blockhead was so young and he could take more than 10 moves from him. When this blockhead grew up, wouldn't he be even more powerful? Thinking of this, Fu Tu secretly felt lucky that he framed Blockhead today. Otherwise, when Blockhead grew up, he would not be easy to deal with. Hum. The stone axe swept past Wang Zhong's ears. After more than 20 moves, Wang Zhong took the opportunity and quickly appeared behind Fu Tu. Pwah! He stabbed his knife into Fu Tu's thigh. Fu Tu cursed angrily, courting death. He threw away the heavy stone axe and grabbed at Wang Zhong. Without the stone axe, Fu Tu's speed increased. Wang Zhong could not dodge in time and was grabbed by the neck. Ah! 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 At that moment, Mute Girl ran out. She gritted her teeth and stabbed her stone knife at Fu Tu. Desolate slave, how dare you! At that moment, Big Teeth roared angrily and threw a punch at Mute Girl. Bang! Mute Girl's temple was struck. With a grunt, she died on the spot. Mute Girl! Fu Tu widened his eyes and cursed at Big Teeth. Why did you kill her? Sorry, I was too heavy-handed. However, this lowly slave wanted to kill you. I was also anxious. Big Teeth said. She's just a lowly slave. So what if she's dead? Five Claws said lightly. Humph. Blockhead. You caused Mute Girl's death. I'll kill you. Fu Tu roared angrily as he gripped Wang Zhong's neck tightly. Wang Zhong was not even 10 years old. Although he was considered strong among his peers, he was still young. Therefore, he was unable to resist Fu Tu's strength. Soon, he found himself out of breath. Wang Zhong felt his vision turn black as he completely suffocated. Reborn character Blockhead has died. Game over. 1,000 experience points dropped. Wang Zhong remained motionless as he looked at the blood-red text that appeared in front of him. I'm dead again. Wang Zhong, who was lying on the sickbed, stretched out his right hand and touched his neck. To be honest, his death this time was somewhat unjust. It could even be said that his death was baffling. Wang Zhong had previously observed Fu Tu. He was indeed ruthless, but he never expected Fu Tu to strike first. Thinking about it carefully, it was most likely because he had rejected him. In a sense, Fu Tu and Five Claws were the same. Not only were they ruthless, but what they wanted was absolute authority. Those who resisted them were their enemies and had to die. At that time, he had rejected Fu Tu's request for Mute Girl. Therefore, he had brought death upon himself. Fu Tu, you're really a formidable opponent. Wang Zhong's mind once again filtered through the plot in the wilderness. In the end, he concluded that if he wanted to successfully overcome this hurdle, he was afraid that he would have to do it himself. It seems that this is the only way. Wang Zhong made up his mind and entered the game again without hesitation. This time, he would kill Fu Tu with his own hands to avenge the 2 times he had killed him. No, sister is already dead. I can only cut open her stomach. Woo woo, ba. Mute girl, move away. Otherwise, sister's child won't live either. A familiar voice sounded in Wang Zhong's ears. From this day onwards, there was a little brat called Blockhead in the Stone Tribe. Chapter 69. As the days passed, Wang Zhong realized that it was actually quite boring to live such a boring life. It was like the life of a husband and wife, facing each other every day. As a person, they would always want to do that, right? Right. This was called boredom. But there was no other way. Life was like this. If you want to live, you have to try to enjoy it. Following the trajectory of his life in his previous life, the day of the assessment finally arrived. Wang Zhong found Tiger, who had just passed the assessment. Tiger, congratulations on becoming a warrior. Blockhead. Tiger was slightly surprised. Blockhead, you're going to participate in the warrior assessment in a few years, right? Yes, but unfortunately, no one taught me how to fight. The two chatted for a while. Wang Zhong leaned over and whispered, there are people from Axe around you. What? Tiger was no longer a child. Hearing this, his face changed and he quickly looked to the side. But at this time, Wang Zhong quickly stopped him, don't let others see it. Tiger was not stupid. He pretended to be normal and said, Blockhead, I get along well with you. Let's go to my mother's place. I'll treat you to lamb. Let's go. The two walked out, but Tiger paused and ordered several attendants behind him. Someone needs to clean up after the assessment. You guys stay here and clean up for my order. Several attendants lowered their heads and quickly said yes. Then, Tiger took Wang Zhong to his mother's place. His mother had accompanied 5 Claws to watch the warrior assessment, so there was no one here. Sit down. Tiger pointed at the stone bench beside him. He poured some steaming goat milk wine and lifted the bowl of steaming hot mutton soup on the table. Then, he sat down and asked expressionlessly, Blockhead, what did you mean by what you said just now? Literally, your every move is under the surveillance of Axe's men. Wang Zhong looked around. Before coming in, he had already looked around to make sure there was no one around. But just to be safe, he still spoke very softly. Tiger's face turned ugly as he asked in a deep voice, How did you know? Once, I saw your men whispering to the Axe gang. They were acting so sneakily. It was obvious that they were plotting against you, Wang Zhong answered ambiguously. That's your guess. Yes, that's my guess. But don't forget, I don't talk nonsense. Tiger nodded. If it was someone else who said this to him, he would at most be suspicious. But Mutu was different. His wisdom was not inferior to the elders in the tribe, and he would not speak carelessly. Blockhead, I heard that you went against Fu Tu a few days ago and refused to give the mute girl to him. To be honest, Fu Tu was very angry when he came back. I know his temperament, and he definitely won't let you off. Now that you've told me all this, you have to help me. We're on the same side now. I understand. That's why I came to find you. I'll go hunting with you in a few days, Wang Zhong said. Although hunting was mainly for the warriors to gain experience, they would sometimes bring along some attendants and desolate slaves to help them pick up some prey or do other chores. What do you plan to do? I'll tell you when the time comes. What you need to do now is to let me go with you and think of a way to distract Fu Tu when we enter the forest. Got it. Tiger nodded. His expression changed as he asked, Won't the risk be too great? Tiger still did not know about the poison. Therefore, he was a little afraid since he knew that he was not Fu Tu's match. I have a way to deal with him. Trust me. Wang Zhong drank a mouthful of warm goat milk wine and stood up. Besides, if you don't kill him this time, do you think Fu Tu will let you off? I know. Tiger nodded heavily. The last trace of worry in his eyes had disappeared. After returning, Wang Zhong took out the poison powder. He only kept 1 jar and threw away the rest. This was to prevent others from discovering it after he dealt with Fu Tu. The next step was to wait. Wang Zhong acted as if nothing had happened. He worked with the desolate slaves from dawn to dusk. Finally, on the day before the hunt, Big Tooth found Wang Zhong. "Blockhead, Tiger told me that you will be following the team to hunt tomorrow. Make some preparations." "Okay, Big Tooth. You are really amazing. You even know Tiger." Big Tooth muttered as he left. Early the next morning, Wang Zhong took the water jar and bade farewell to Mute Girl. He then walked towards the entrance of the tribe. 5 Claws had been waiting for a long time with the others. Many people were surprised when they saw Wang Zhong. "Blockhead, what is a child like you doing here?" an elder said with a frown. "I asked him to come. Blockhead is my best friend. He will become a warrior sooner or later. I brought him along to gain some experience," Tiger said indifferently. "All right. However, Tiger, there are many dangers in the forest. You have to take good care of your best friend," the elder said in a deep voice. This elder was called Big Tuesday. He was the elder brother of Fu Tu's mother. Therefore, he naturally stood on Fu Tu's side. Tiger snorted. "There is no need for you to worry." Wang Zhong walked towards Tiger. It looked like Tiger had learned his lesson. He had not brought any attendants or desolate slaves with him. It looked like he was worried that Wang Zhong would be plotted against. "All right, everyone check your weapons. Let's set off." 5 Claws stood in front. After saying that, he walked out. The team walked out in a grandiose manner. Tiger purposely walked with Wang Zhong on the right. "Blockhead, quickly tell me what to do next. I can tell you that I can't beat Fu Tu. If you don't tell me, I won't feel confident." Although Tiger looked burly, he was actually very timid. Wang Zhong glanced at him and secretly handed him the poison powder wrapped in sheepskin. "You can come into contact with what Fu Tu eats. Find an opportunity to put this into Fu Tu's bamboo tube. This is... I know you can't beat Fu Tu. This thing will make Fu Tu's stomach ache. When the time comes, you will be able to beat him. Are you sure this will work? This is something that will cause you to lose your head. Why would I talk nonsense with you?" But Wang Zhong knew that Tiger was timid, but he never expected him to be so timid at such a critical juncture. Hence, he pointed at the leader of the team and said, "Look at 5 Claws and Fu Tu. From the moment we set off, 5 Claws has been teaching Fu Tu things. He clearly wants Fu Tu to be the leader. With Fu Tu's means, how do you think he will treat you when he takes over?" Tiger trembled and revealed a look of fear. "He will kill you, steal your wife, and kill your mother. When the time comes, even if you kneel in front of him and beg for mercy, he will not even look at you. If you don't do it today, it will be even harder to kill him in the future." "All right." Tiger clenched his teeth and revealed a sinister look. He nodded heavily. "I'll do it later." Chapter 70. It was Wang Zhong's first time coming to the entrance of the forest. However, he heard that this was the entrance that the Stone Tribe used to enter. The forest here was not very dense, and there were apes living along the way. Deeper in, there were some wolves. They were going to deal with wolves this time. There were many wolves and they were not as difficult to deal with as tigers and lions. One wolf was easy to deal with. After killing some apes along the way, 5 Claws finally stopped in front of a pile of feces. He looked at the feces on the ground and nodded. "It's a wolf's. We've entered their territory. Everyone, get ready." Elder Datu waved his hand, and the warriors behind him walked out. Fu Tu, this fellow, was indeed somewhat talented. He was very courageous as he walked at the very front. Beside him were his 2 strongest attendants to assist him. Tiger Guts was not as good. He hid in the middle of the group as soon as they entered the forest. Wang Zhong shook his head. No wonder 5 Claws did not like his son. Woo-woo. Wolf howls came from the forest. 5 Claws shouted, "It's the alpha wolf. It's warning us not to enter their territory." The more it howls, the more scared it is. Let's go. Got it. Fu Tu took the lead. Suddenly, a wolf rushed out from the forest. Fu Tu swung his stone axe. With a bang, the wolf's skull was split open and it fell to the ground, motionless. At the same time, more and more wolves came out and attacked the group. Defend! Five Claws shouted. Everyone formed a circle and started to attack the wolves. My leg! One of the warriors was bitten in the leg. The people around him retreated in fear. Then, a large group of wolves rushed up and bit the warrior to death. Five Claws did not show any expression when his men died. He shouted, "As warriors, each of you must kill at least 2 wolves. Otherwise, you are not fit to be warriors." When Tiger heard this, he gritted his teeth, roared, and slashed at a dying wolf. The battle lasted for more than an hour. The alpha wolf saw that it could not gain any advantage and roared from the depths of the forest. The wolves then quietly retreated. "Victory, we won!" Tiger shouted excitedly. Unfortunately, his prestige in the team was too low, and no one cared about him at all. On the contrary, under Fu Tu's roar, the entire team roared with excitement. Axe, axe, axe. 5 claws, 5 claws, 5 claws. "All right, pack up and go out to eat," 5 Claws ordered. After the group left the forest, some desolate slaves started to prepare a fire. They roasted the lamb leg and heated up the goat milk wine. "Axe, let me give you a toast." A warrior held a cup of goat's milk wine and tried to curry favor with Axe. "Fu Tu, you've killed more than a dozen wolves by yourself this time. I really admire you and respect you. Haha, there's no need to be so courteous. I can only do this because I studied under Adair." Fu Tu laughed heartily, praising himself and 5 Claws. The tiger lowered its head and viciously bit the wolf's leg. He was very unhappy. Of course he was unhappy. He was the eldest son, Axe's big brother. Now that everyone in the tribe admired Axe, where would he put his face? Kill. We must kill Fu Tu. The tiger drank the goat milk wine and took out the medicinal powder that Wang Zhong had given him. Now, this was his greatest hope. "I took a look just now. Everyone's bamboo tubes are over there." Wang Zhong secretly pointed to a desolate slave who was drinking mutton soup. "Everyone's bamboo tubes are over there. I'll go over with you later." "All right, I'll put in the medicine." "Let me do it." "You do it later." Wang Zhong weighed the pros and cons. He was still worried about the tiger, so he asked for the medicine back. Following that, the tiger walked to the bamboo tube and shouted at a desolate slave, "Hey, get me a bowl of mutton soup." "All right, tiger." The desolate slave hurriedly stood up and handed the bowl of mutton soup to the tiger. Bang! Suddenly, the tiger kicked the desolate slave away and cursed, "There's only a piece of mutton in there. Did you do it on purpose?" "No, I didn't do it on purpose." How could the tiger wait for the desolate slave to explain? He smacked the desolate slave in the face. Instantly, everyone's attention was on the tiger. "Tiger, it's just a lowly slave. Stop hitting him." A warrior walked over. "Don't worry about it. We have to make things clear today." The tiger cursed as he attacked the warrior. "Tiger, are you crazy?" Another person walked over. 5 Claws frowned. Beside him, Fu Tu and his companion watched with a smile. Wang Zhong was small and stood behind a desolate slave. He saw everyone's gazes. Following that, he quickly picked up Fu Tu's bamboo tube and put in the medicine. After he was done, the tiger continued fighting. 5 Claws did not seem to have any intention of persuading the tiger as he continued chewing on the wolf meat. "Tiger, you drank too much." Finally, Fu Tu stood up. "Fu Tu, there's no need for you to interfere," the tiger scolded. "Humph. Since you bully others like this, of course I have to interfere." When Fu Tu walked over, the tiger knew when to stop. He rubbed his forehead and said, "Sorry, I drank too much." After saying that, the tiger picked up his bamboo tube and drank from it. This small interlude quickly passed. After everyone ate and drank their fill, they picked up their equipment and prepared to set off again. However, this time, they were not working together. Instead, they were splitting up. This was to test everyone's ability to fight alone. Listen up. Every warrior has to bring back 2 wolves. Do you understand? Five Claws looked at everyone. This time, he would not enter again. Got it. Fu Tu nodded and walked in with his attendant. Let's go. Wang Zhong nodded at the tiger as the two walked in. The forest was huge. Every warrior had an attendant with them as they walked in from different directions. Fu Tu seemed to know that the tiger and Wang Zhong were following behind and intentionally approached them. Wang Zhong was not curious about this because this fellow was originally in the forest. He was prepared to attack the tiger and frame him. This time, it was time to settle the grudge. Bang! After Fu Tu finished off a wolf, he glanced back. An attendant named Bean sneered, "This tiger actually found Blockhead as a helper. He's just a kid. This time, we'll kill them all. If this big brother of mine doesn't die, I won't be able to become the leader properly. Bean, be alert later. Make sure there's no one around." Yes. After the two finished discussing, Fu Tu shouted, "Isn't this my big brother? Why are you sneaking behind me? What should we do, Blockhead?" "Fu Tu is calling me," the tiger asked anxiously. Wang Zhong thought for a moment and said, "When we came in, I saw him drinking water. Let's go. When he has a stomachache, we'll kill him." But, don't you understand? He called us over to this place. It's clear that he's prepared to fight to the death with us. This time, it's either them or us." Wang Zhong stared into the tiger's eyes. "Remember, fight to the death." Got it. The tiger could not help but tremble. Chapter 71. Fu Tu, who's sneaking around. "Blockhead and I are looking for wolves," Tiger said as he walked over. "Oh, is that so? I see that you're quite scared. My good brother, if you really can't do it, I'll give you the wolf I just killed." Fu Tu pointed at the 2 dead wolves on the ground and joked. Tiger's mouth twitched. Even an idiot could see that Fu Tu was deliberately humiliating him. "Fu Tu, who do you think I am? Do you think I need your charity?" "Oh, you don't need it? Haha, seeing you so scared, I feel sorry for you." Fu Tu shook his head and laughed. It was at this moment that the attendants beside him started to walk towards the forest. They seemed to want to surround Wang Zhong and Tiger. Naturally, Wang Zhong noticed this point and swept a glance at the attendant. This fellow was also very strong. In his previous life, Tiger had probably encountered these 2 people and had been beaten to death. "Fu Tu, it seems that you're getting more and more disrespectful. Do you still see me as your big brother? Tiger, if you were a little more stupid, I wouldn't do anything to you. But you just have to go against me. Don't blame me." Fu Tu seemed to have victory in his hands and raised his stone axe. "Blockhead, why is he still fine?" Tiger asked anxiously. He couldn't care less about hiding anything. "It should be soon." Wang Zhong stared at Fu Tu. Ever since he drugged Fu Tu, the bamboo tube had never left his sight. His strategy was simple. If Fu Tu didn't drink the water, then he could only let Tiger find an excuse to not enter the forest. But when he killed the first wolf, Fu Tu had already drunk the water. He calculated that 20 minutes had passed and the effect of the medicine should be about to wear off. "What are you talking about? Tiger, since you're targeting me, then don't blame me for being impolite. Don't worry, after you die, I'll take care of your 2 wives." Haha. After Fu Tu finished speaking, he roared, "Attack!" His servant had been prepared for a long time. He raised his stone knife and slashed at Tiger. Wang Zhong gritted his teeth and grabbed a pile of sand from his pocket and threw it at Fu Tu's eyes. This was something he had prepared a long time ago, just in case he needed it. "Ah, my eyes." Soybeans covered her eyes while Wang Zhong dodged to the side. At this time, Fu Tu and Tiger were fighting fiercely. Bang! Their stone axes collided. Tiger was obviously weaker and was forced to take a few steps back. Tiger, you have never been able to defeat me, and you want to fight me today? Fu Tu laughed. And you want to fight me with a child who is not even 10 years old? Tiger's palms were numb from the shock and he quickly took a step back. He was secretly anxious. Why didn't his stomach hurt from the axe? Blockhead, what should we do? Tiger could not help but ask. Wang Zhong was also anxious. He shouted, "Run inside." The only thing he could do now was to stall for time and let the axe have a stomachache. After saying that, he ran to the left without another word. Although Tiger could not beat axe, in terms of running away, he was the best at it, so he quickly chased after him. Chase! Fu Tu gave the order and chased after him with his attendants. They were confident that they could catch up to Wang Zhong. After all, Wang Zhong was still young and his legs were not even fully developed. How could he run fast? Sure enough, in just 5 minutes, Fu Tu was already very close to Wang Zhong. Blockhead, this time we are really going to die because of you. Didn't you say that the medicine was effective? Tiger shouted. Wang Zhong frowned. Suddenly, he heard Fu Tu shout angrily from behind. The stone axe in his hand was swung at Tiger. Get out of the way! Wang Zhong shouted. Tiger quickly rolled. Although he dodged the stone axe, Fu Tu was already standing in front of him. Fu Tu's breathing was hurried. He frowned and said, "Let's see where you can run to." As he spoke, he touched his stomach. He did not know why, but when he was chasing, he felt a faint pain in his stomach. This detail was keenly noticed by Wang Zhong, causing him to rejoice in his heart. The effects of the medicine were finally here. Fu Tu felt his stomach hurt more and more. His frown deepened. Fu Tu, what's wrong? Soybeans asked. Nothing. Let's go. You deal with Blockhead. I will deal with Tiger. Got it. Soybeans walked towards Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong shouted at Tiger, Fu Tu's stomach is hurting. I will buy you some time. Kill him. Got it. Tiger also noticed that something was wrong with Fu Tu. He was delighted and attacked. Fu Tu raised his stone axe to block. However, the pain in his stomach made him unable to use much strength. He frowned and shouted, "It hurts." Bang! Tiger's stone axe was heavy and heavy. Fu Tu could not block it. No, I can't take it anymore. Soybeans, run. Fu Tu felt that if this continued, he would definitely die. He quickly shouted. Haha, it's too late. Tiger shouted excitedly and swung his stone axe. Fu Tu could not block it in time. His arm was broken. He was in so much pain that he rolled on the ground. Fu Tu. Soybeans quickly ran over. Tiger laughed and turned his head towards Soybeans. Tiger, kill him immediately. Only when they are all dead can you become the leader. Wang Zhong shouted. Tiger nodded and swung his stone axe at Soybeans. Although Tiger could not defeat Fu Tu, he was more than enough to deal with Soybeans. The axe broke the stone knife in Soybeans' hand. Tiger then rushed over and grabbed Soybeans' neck. Soon, Soybeans died. Ha ha ha, I lost. I lost. Blockhead, this was all part of your plan. You are indeed the smartest blockhead in our tribe. Fu Tu, who had lost an arm, saw that his servant was dead. He knew that he could not live. He calmly accepted everything in front of him. Wang Zhong did not walk over for safety reasons. He said from afar, "You forced me. It's because of the mute girl. I should have listened to Ada and not gone against you. I wanted to take the opportunity to kill the two of you. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?" Fu Tu roared powerlessly. It was as if he was shouting about the unfairness of fate. Because he was so close. He was so close to killing Blockhead and Tiger. Tiger, to avoid any more trouble, kill him. Wang Zhong reminded. Got it. Tiger walked over and swung his axe down. In order to avoid being discovered, Tiger dragged the 2 corpses into the forest. After encountering the wolf pack, the 2 quickly retreated. From afar, they saw the 2 corpses being bitten by the wolves. Even if someone found their corpses, they would not be able to tell who they were from the corpses. The sky gradually darkened. Wang Zhong and Tiger both smeared some wolf blood on their bodies. Only then did they come out in a sorry state. At this time, many people came out. Everyone was whispering to each other, excitedly discussing their harvest. Only 5 Claws looked into the forest with a gloomy face. 5 Claws, it seems, only Fu Tu is not out. A servant walked up to 5 Claws and said, "Go back and tell the people in the tribe that we will not go back tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will enter the forest. No matter what happened to Fu Tu, if he is alive, I want to see him. If he is dead, I want to see his corpse." After saying that, he looked at Tiger with a deep gaze. Chapter 72. That night, no one chatted as the atmosphere turned heavy. Many desolate slaves did not even dare to breathe loudly. There was no other reason other than Wu Zhua's most beloved son, Fu Tu, had not returned. The jungle was dangerous, especially at night. If Fu Tu had not returned, there was only one possibility. Fu Tu was definitely dead. Bang! Wu Zhua punched the ground. How is this possible? How is this possible? Fu Tu is clearly very strong. Even if he encountered 10 wolves, he would still be able to escape. Furthermore, he has Soya by his side. The surrounding people did not know how to comfort him. However, they did not find it strange. The jungle was filled with danger. No matter how strong a person was, there would be times when they lost their footing. "Tiger," Wu Zhua roared. "Ada, why did you call me?" Tiger ran over with a guilty conscience. "Your brother is missing. You have to find him tomorrow," Wu Zhua said in a deep voice. "Got it, Ada. By the way, when we entered, I saw that you and Fu Tu took the same route. Did you see him on the way?" Wu Zhua asked as he stared at Tiger. "I saw him." Tiger nodded. "Oh. Yes, but I did not speak to him. I just walked away. Then, I saw him run deeper into the jungle. You did not see him again?" "No," Tiger said solemnly. "Okay, go and rest." Wu Zhua waved his hand. Tiger returned to Wang Zhong's side. At this moment, Wang Zhong was drinking mutton soup alone. In fact, he was looking at Tiger. "I told Ada what you taught me." "He did not seem to suspect anything," Tiger said softly. Wang Zhong bit off a piece of meat and said softly, "He definitely has his suspicions. However, you were not Fu Tu's match in the past. Therefore, even if he suspects something, he might not be able to figure out how you did it. In the future, remember not to give yourself away." "Got it. Also, don't drink alcohol. I don't want you to spout nonsense when you are drunk," Wang Zhong reminded him. "Okay." Early the next morning, Wu Zhua personally led people into the jungle. After searching for a long time, they finally found Fu Tu and his servant. Fu Tu had been gnawed beyond recognition. "My son is dead." Looking at the corpse, 5 Claws trembled. After returning, the 2 corpses were buried. Wang Zhong looked at Fu Tu's small grave and breathed a sigh of relief. "By this time next year, the grass on my grave should be fully grown. I've wasted 2,000 EXP just to kill you," Wang Zhong muttered in his heart as he returned to the hut. Without the axe, the following days were much better. Now, beside 5 Claws, the person with the most power was naturally Tiger. Many people who originally supported Axe had turned to support Tiger. After this fellow was personally groomed by 5 Claws, although he still did not have much courage, his strength had grown by a notch. If he were to compete with Fu Tu now, it was likely that they would be evenly matched. Late at night, Wang Zhong lit an oil lamp for his little cottage. He looked at the mute girl in front of him, who was only wearing a thin sheepskin, and nodded. Let's begin. Yes. The mute girl nodded heavily and rushed towards Wang Zhong. Bang! The two of them instantly attacked each other. If one were to look closely, they would be able to see that the two of them were using the same moves. You're too slow. Remember to let go when you attack me. As Wang Zhong spoke, he pushed his palm slightly and attacked the mute girl's chest. The mute girl groaned and took a few steps back. Again. Wang Zhong shook his head. Next year is your assessment. Your strength is already weak. If you don't work on your speed and skills, you won't pass the assessment. Do you understand? Yes. The mute girl nodded, her eyes burning with fighting spirit. Attack me. Treat me like a big bird. Don't forget how those people treated you. The weak should be beaten. Wang Zhong's voice echoed in the mute girl's ears. The mute girl's movements became faster. Bang, bang, bang. An hour later, the two of them were drenched in sweat. 2 hours later, the two of them were panting. 3 hours later, they finally could not fight anymore. The mute girl struggled to lie on the bed and said, Blockhead, how did you learn? Now, the mute girl had been trained to speak nimbly. Use your brain. Wang Zhong sat cross-legged and pointed to his head. Remember, martial strength is an external force. Our most powerful weapon is our brain. Yes, I know. The mute girl nodded in admiration. She remembered that when Wang Zhong became an attendant and had his own house, he let her live here. Originally, she thought that the little brat Blockhead had improper thoughts about her. After all, many children matured early in the wasteland. But later, she realized that was not the case. When Blockhead let her in, not only did he give her good food and drink, he also taught her martial arts. At first, she did not know what martial arts were. Only after Blockhead demonstrated it once did she realize that with martial arts, a weak girl like her could defeat a warrior. From that day on, she decided that she wanted to be a warrior. She did not want to be a lowly, desolate slave. She did not want to be with someone she did not love. She did not want her child to not know who his father was. She wanted to decide her own future. Okay, wipe your sweat, eat something, and sleep. Although Wang Zhong was a child, the mute girl did not think so. Instead, she treated Wang Zhong as an elder. The mute girl went to get some hot water, and Wang Zhong added some firewood to the fire in the house. The fire sizzled. Although it was cold outside, the house was very warm. While the mute girl was washing herself, she looked curiously at Wang Zhong. From beginning to end, Blockhead had his back to her. This made her feel very strange. Many children in the tribe learned to peek at the bathing girls when they were 7 or 8 years old, but Blockhead did not. What a strange Blockhead, the mute girl thought to herself. Does he not like me? After thinking about it, the mute girl rejected this idea. Because she remembered that the other girls in the tribe would occasionally seduce Blockhead, but Blockhead always kept a straight face. Could it be? Thinking of this, the mute girl looked at Blockhead with pity. No, I have to find a way to change Blockhead. The mute girl quickly went to bed. The bed in the house was different from the beds of the other desolate slaves. The beds of the other desolate slaves had hay at the bottom and soft fur at the top. However, the bed in Wang Zhong's house had a frame. In Wang Zhong's words, it was to prevent it from getting damp. This little invention was learned by many people. Everyone said that ever since they had a bed frame, they did not need to be afraid of getting their fur wet. Wang Zhong wiped his body and walked to the side of the bed. The mute girl slept facing him. At this moment, she opened her eyes slightly and looked at Wang Zhong walking over. Blockhead is very tall now. In the future, he will definitely be as strong as the other warriors. No, he will be stronger than them. Just as the mute girl was thinking, Wang Zhong extended his hand towards her. Chapter 73. I just received some bad news. My beautiful editor is going to publish my book. Kneeling on the spot. This book is one of the earliest books that I've published on Qidian. Let's not talk about it anymore. Everyone knows that this year is a disaster for me. I don't even have a single book. My previous book was the worst book that I've ever published on Qidian. Now, my credit card, social security, meals, and all sorts of expenses are crushing me. In other words, my pockets are cleaner than my face. There are many people who have good reviews for this book. However, perhaps because it's a fast-forward type of book, many people don't continue reading after reading the story. That's why it's not as good as reading it. Now, I only hope that everyone will subscribe to it. I want everyone to charge 500 yuan for it. Otherwise, a book that no one subscribes to won't go far. Sometimes, I want to continue writing, but I need the support of results. Without results, my heart will be in a mess and my mind will be blank. Reading pirated books, please give me some face and give me some subscriptions. Tomorrow, I guarantee at least 10,000 chapters. From tomorrow onwards, I'll pay back the rewards. I'll add more every day. But really, please subscribe, please subscribe, please subscribe, please subscribe. Please understand. From now on, I guarantee at least 2 to 3 chapters a day. Rewards 3,000 yuan plus 1 chapter. Branch leader plus 4 chapters. Guild leader plus 45 chapters. It's impossible for there to be any silver coins, so I won't talk about it. Also, I'll keep a record of the small rewards. Although I know that there might not be many rewards, but I still have to say it. There are about 4 branch leaders who have rewarded me previously, plus 16 chapters. For the next few days, I'll update at least 5 chapters a day. I estimate that I'll pay back the rewards in a few days. I'll keep a record of it later. I'm not writing this because I think there are many rewards, but because I don't want everyone to reward me for nothing. This book is a niche book, so there's no other way. Please take care of a niche book like mine. I also want to continue writing. I'm really tired. Chapter 74. Seeing Wang Zhong's hand reaching out, the mute girl's eyes slightly widened. You haven't slept yet. Seeing the mute girl open her eyes, Wang Zhong did not stop. He held the mute girl's hand and said, "Let me check your body." And the mute girl nodded. Since she lived here, Wang Zhong would check her body every other month. According to him, it was to open up her meridians. Your muscles are well trained. Wang Zhong pressed the muscles on the mute girl's arm, but you're still too thin. Eat more in the future. Without waiting for the mute girl to respond, Wang Zhong touched her neck and shoulder. When Wang Zhong was in the Great Dragon Dynasty, he learned some methods to open up the meridians and activate the bones and blood from the martial arts masters in the palace. After activating the muscles and bones, not only can it relieve fatigue, but it will also not be easy to have hidden injuries in the future. At the same time, he also checked the body muscles of the mute girl to see what kind of martial arts is suitable for her. In the past, he taught some boxing and fighting skills of the Great Dragon Dynasty. Now that the mute girl has almost learned it, Wang Zhong felt that it is time for her to learn how to use a knife. After the check was almost done, Wang Zhong let the mute girl lie down and began to push the blood. Wang Zhong's hand was a little warm, and it was a little itchy on her body, but it was very comfortable. The mute girl liked this step for every check. With Wang Zhong pushing the blood, the mute girl could not help but twist a little, but she did not dare to show too much in front of the blockhead, so she could only slightly clench her teeth, squint her eyes, and try to hold it in. She couldn't help but want to continue like this. However, Wang Zhong quickly retracted his hand, causing her to be disappointed. Is it over? The mute girl was disappointed. Huh? Why did the blockhead touch me there? It can't be there. The mute girl exclaimed in her heart. She did not expect that Wang Zhong would touch her there. That was the most itchy part of her. What to do, what to do, my waist is itchy. Your waist is itchy? Wang Zhong originally wanted to check the muscles of the mute girl's waist, but he did not expect her body to suddenly tighten. I'm afraid, itchy. The mute girl whispered. Then endure it for a while. Ah. The examination was finally over. Wang Zhong was sweating profusely. The mute girl's body was twitching. This was a necessary step to push blood. After resting for a while, Wang Zhong said, "Mute girl, when you go out in the future, continue to make your face ugly. Most importantly, don't show your strength in front of anyone." "I know. You're quite talkative now, but don't make others think you're strange." The mute girl continued to nod, but her eyes still revealed a strange look. Ever since she was a child, Wang Zhong had taught her to appear ugly and wear more clothes. Every time she returned to this small house, she could only reveal her true appearance. "This world is too dangerous. I'm telling you to do this for your own good. If there's a warrior who has bad intentions towards you, we won't be able to deal with them without strength. So remember, keep a low profile." The mute girl shrunk her neck. She remembered some of the slave girls she knew. They were casually scolded and humiliated by their masters. If she were to be treated the same way, it would be truly terrifying. "All right, I'll ask you a few questions now." Wang Zhong acted out of character and sat up. "If Big Tooth wants to bully you, what will you do?" "I will resist," the mute girl said. Wang Zhong shook his head slightly. "I've told you before that you need to use your brain. You shouldn't resist, you should obey." The mute girl was stunned, but Wang Zhong's next words made her feel relieved. "When I say obey, I don't really mean obey. You need to protect yourself first, then lure them to a place where there's no one and try to kill them. So from now on, I'll teach you some meridians and the weak points of the human body." These things required some strength to be used, so when the mute girl was young, Wang Zhong didn't teach her much. Next, Wang Zhong used his own body to explain some of the weak points of the human body to the mute girl. For example, the temple, the cervical spine, the jaw, how to cut into the aorta quickly and accurately. When the mute girl was experimenting in front of him, Wang Zhong was slightly stunned. In the past, they were always together, so Wang Zhong didn't notice. Now that he took a closer look, the mute girl's clothes made of sheepskin were bulging and it was very eye-catching. Wang Zhong frowned. This wasn't good, it would easily attract other people's attention. They still needed to keep a low profile, so they had to think of a way. So, Wang Zhong decided to let the mute girl wrap her chest with a belt. But it didn't seem to work. No matter how she wrapped it, it wouldn't work. It was still possible for people to see through it. Especially those with sharp eyes, what would they do if they saw through it? After the mute girl wrapped her chest with a belt, she frowned. It was very uncomfortable. "It can't be helped if it's uncomfortable," Wang Zhong sighed. "If you don't want to be bullied, you can only do this. Bear with it." "All right." The mute girl was speechless as she pursed her lips. Although she didn't want to do this, she was used to listening to Wang Zhong. She didn't resist Wang Zhong's orders. Day after day passed. Although Wang Zhong concealed the mute girl very well, the mute girl grew bigger and bigger. Although she was wrapped in a corset and her face and hands were often smeared with black, the people of the wastelands didn't care much about these things. Everyone was dirty, so why would they care? Therefore, every time the mute girl was working, there would always be some attendants and desolate slaves staring at her, causing her to frown. Wang Zhong didn't care about these rascals. Although he was only an attendant, he wasn't an ordinary attendant. He had made great contributions, so even Big Tooth didn't dare to order him around. Furthermore, Tiger was in power now. Everyone knew that Blockhead was Tiger's good friend. Some attendants and desolate slaves didn't dare to touch the mute girl. Previously, an attendant had boldly touched the mute girl's waist. When Wang Zhong learned of this, he stabbed the man's arm with his stone saber while the attendant wasn't paying attention. Wang Zhong even declared that the mute girl was his. After the matter, Wang Zhong gave the attendant's master a sheep. The warrior didn't pursue the matter. After all, no one wished to offend someone who might become an elder in the future. From then on, the desolate slaves and attendants looked at Wang Zhong with fear. They knew that Wang Zhong wasn't someone to be trifled with. The mute girl was even more so. However, just because these people didn't dare, it didn't mean that other warriors didn't dare. At the end of the year, everyone welcomed the new year. The harvest this year was still pretty good. Everyone happily prepared a feast, while the warriors prepared for the New Year's hunting activity. Wang Zhong followed the usual practice of the previous years. He and the mute girl offered 2 bags of potatoes and 2 sheep. Just as they left the house, they encountered the big bird. "Isn't this Blockhead?" The big bird laughed as he walked over. "What a coincidence. Isn't this the mute girl? I haven't seen you in a long time. You have grown so tall." The big bird smiled as he patted the mute girl's waist. Chapter 75. The bird liked to bully the mute girl and Wang Zhong when they were young. In the end, he was drugged by Wang Zhong. Instead of being poisoned to death, he was beaten up by his father due to a freak combination of factors. His father was also a ruthless person. Back then, he threw a pot of hot soup at the bird without a word, causing his legs to be severely scalded. He had to rest for a long time. However, after so many years, the fellow managed to survive tenaciously. Not only that, last year, he participated in the warrior assessment with Axe, Tiger, and company and successfully became a warrior. However, a leopard could not change its spots. The fellow did not remember the lessons from when he was young. Over the years, he still liked some desolate slaves, especially a few slave girls. He had taken advantage of them. Encountering the mute girl this time also gave the big bird a shock. With his sharp eyes, he could tell at a glance that the mute girl was different from the other slave girls. Furthermore, the mute girl had never given birth. Although her skin looked dirty, it was very firm. She looked like a beauty at a glance. Upon seeing the bird swat her with his large hand, the mute girl frowned and hurriedly took a step back. Wang Zhong also stood in front of the mute girl. He was indeed much shorter than the bird, but he was not afraid. "Big Bird, the mute girl is my wife." This was permitted by Big Tooth. "What are you doing?" "Haha, Blockhead, I drank too much." "Didn't I drink too much?" The bird's eyes darted around as though he was thinking of a plan. He continued, "Don't be nervous. We even played together when we were young. Although some unpleasant things happened, we were still young back then, right? Blockhead, you are a magnanimous person. Don't take it to heart. The mute girl and I have something to do. We'll be leaving first." Wang Zhong was not in the mood to talk nonsense with the fellow as he turned to leave. However, the bird blocked his path and said with a smile, "Blockhead, I know you are still angry. How about this? I'll treat you to venison. My idea, and I hunted it a few days ago. You haven't eaten venison before, right? It's much more delicious than mutton. If you like it, I can even give you a deer leg." One who was unaccountably solicitous was hiding evil intentions. Wang Zhong naturally ignored the fellow and shook his head. "There's no need. We still have something to do." He pulled the mute girl and left. Looking at the mute girl's back, Big Bird swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "Damn, what's so great about her? She's just a lowly slave. Just watch, I'll get you into bed sooner or later." That night, Wang Zhong added a handful of firewood to the brazier in the room, and the temperature in the room rose a lot. As usual, after the mute girl washed the stone bowl and pot, she prepared to close the door and continue her training with Wang Zhong. She was now addicted to combat training and felt that she had become much stronger. However, at this moment, 3 figures appeared on the road ahead. "Big Bird, he's here." Seeing the person, the mute girl quickly shouted towards Wang Zhong, who was inside the house. Wang Zhong walked out of the door and saw Big Bird leading 2 women in thin clothes over. These 2 women were wearing very thin clothes, only a thin sheepskin draped over them, revealing their long legs. One had to know that it was still the 12th month of winter. Usually, when people slept, they would burn charcoal in their houses. However, these 2 women actually came dressed like this. Weren't they cold? Of course they were cold. From their shivering and aggrieved looks, it could be seen that they were very unwilling. However, due to Big Bird's abuse of power, they had no choice but to obey. "Blockhead, what's wrong? Ready to sleep?" Big Bird came over and laughed, just like an old friend. "I'm ready to sleep. Why did you bring your slave girls here? Wang Zhong glanced at the two pitiful slave girls. After many years of living as a slave, they had lost interest in life. Their eyes had already lost their color. Haha, I want to discuss something with you. Big Bird rubbed his hands, exhaled, and entered the house. Seeing the mute girl in the house, his eyes lit up. Mute girl, it's so late. Why don't you take off your clothes and sleep? Big Bird, she's my wife. Wang Zhong said in a low voice. Haha, what's wrong with that? These two are my wives. What do you think? Do you like them? Wang Zhong had a rough idea of why Big Bird had come over, but he still asked, What do you mean? I like the mute girl. These two slave girls, in exchange for a mute girl. Blockhead, you're a smart person. I didn't let you suffer a loss. Big Bird said confidently. In his opinion, with such good conditions, he could casually make an exchange with anyone and they would definitely agree. After all, these two slave girls were good women. Not only were they mature, but they could also give birth and work. 2 for 1, Wang Zhong would definitely make a profit. As a warrior, to be able to make such a deal with Blockhead, who was a servant, was already a great favor. Unfortunately, what made him frown was that Wang Zhong shook his head slightly and refused his request. The mute girl and I grew up together. She's not a commodity. Even if you gave me all your slave girls, I wouldn't sell them. He was clearly facing a 10-year-old child, but to Big Bird, he felt like he was an adult. Blockhead, I'm giving you face because you and Tiger are good friends. Don't be so shameless. Big Bird threatened coldly. The mute girl quietly walked to the wall. There was a stone knife there. If Big Bird dared to make a move, she would rush out without hesitation. Wang Zhong was very calm. He said expressionlessly, First of all, I don't need your face. Second, if you dare to make a move on me here, not only will Tiger not let you go, 5 Claws will also punish you. Big Bird's eyes flashed. He knew that Wang Zhong was right. In this place, Wang Zhong, as a servant, was actually a special existence. Although he was young, relying on him, the tribe not only swallowed the Oxhead tribe, but also doubled the income of the tribe's farmland according to his methods. The cattle and sheep rarely fell sick. He also designed many small inventions to make it easier for everyone to produce things. Because of this, he was valued by 5 Claws and some elders. If he made a move on him, he would definitely be punished. He was clear on this point. Wang Tsong stared at Big Bird. He said these words because he didn't want to make a move. But if he really wanted to, he wasn't worried. Big Bird's strength wasn't strong. He was just an ordinary warrior, and mute girls training these days wasn't for nothing. Haha, Blockhead, since you don't agree, then forget it. After shooting a glance at Wang Zhong, the large bird tactfully left. After he left, Mute Girl closed the door and said worriedly, Big Bird will bully us again. I'm afraid he won't let it go. But don't worry, I've observed him during the battle. He's very ordinary. Next, I'll teach you how to target his weakness. Remember, don't be afraid. When it's time to hit hard, don't show mercy. Otherwise, you'll be the one who gets hurt. Okay. Next, the two continued to fight. Chapter 76. The new year was finally over. On this day, the sun shone brightly and the wind blew gently. The annual hunt was held once again. 5 Claws led Tiger, 30 warriors, and a group of desolate slaves to prepare for the hunt. However, this time, they did not enter the forest. Instead, they headed to a canyon in the desolate plains to hunt. There were countless herds of goats, cows, and even elephants and saber-toothed tigers there. Before Tiger left, he had asked Wang Zhong if he wanted to go, but Wang Zhong rejected him with the excuse that he was too young. His current mission was to train the mute girl and he did not care about anything else. When the team finally left, the remaining people in the campsite went back to their own jobs. Wang Zhong was rather busy today. The main reason was that 2 goats were about to give birth. These 2 goats showed signs of dystocia, so he had to deliver them. This time, he did not let the mute girl follow him. After 5 Claws returned from the hunt, the annual warrior assessment would be held again. He wanted the mute girl to intensify her training. He, the wet nurse, and a few desolate slaves spent quite a bit of effort before they finally delivered the goats. Looking at the few goats, the desolate slaves revealed smiles. Blockhead, you are awesome. In the past, when we encountered such situations, the goats would always die. Now, we finally don't have to. If Big Tooth knew about this, he would definitely praise you. The wet nurse said excitedly. Wang Zhong washed his hands with water. The weather is cold. Get more hay in the sheep shed. Got it. A desolate slave nodded obediently. At this moment, a slave girl suddenly ran over. Blockhead, blockhead. Not good. Big Bird is going to bully the mute girl. Is that so? Upon hearing this news, Wang Zhong was not worried. Instead, he was looking forward to it. He wanted to use this opportunity to test the mute girl's strength. Some tribulations had to be faced by herself. Only by doing so could she grow. Of course, for safety's sake, he still ran over. Haha, mute girl, my friend just said that Blockhead had gone to deliver the goats. Let's play. I will give you a goat leg. Big Bird excitedly raised the goat leg in his hand as he stared at the mute girl with a covetous gaze. He did not expect that the mute girl would always cover her private part when she met people. Hence, it did not look big. But this time, he took advantage of Wang Zhong's absence and made a surprise attack. He happened to bump into the mute girl who was only wearing thin clothes. From the looks of it, she could really wash her face. In fact, Big Bird had never given up on the idea of hitting on the mute girl. After that night, he had arranged for people to keep an eye on this place. Once Wang Zhong left, he would rape the mute girl. In his opinion, he was a brave warrior after all, and the mute girl was a desolate slave. As long as he did not deal with Wang Zhong, it would not matter if he really did something to the mute girl. 5 Claws had been the leader for so many years, but he had never punished a warrior for a desolate slave. At most, he would make 5 Claws compensate him. That was why he was fearless and prepared to mess with the mute girl. Now that his 2 attendants were guarding the door, he could easily deal with the mute girl. It would be a lie if the mute girl said she wasn't nervous, but she immediately thought of Wang Zhong's words. What would she do if someone tried to force her? The answer was to obey, pretend to obey, and then take them by surprise. Thinking of this, the mute girl pretended to reveal a frightened expression. Big Bird, don't come over. You can speak now. Not bad. Big Bird chuckled. Do you want a leg of lamb? Yes. The mute girl nodded. Very good. Although Big Bird was curious why the mute girl agreed so quickly, he could not help but feel restless when he saw the mute girl lowering her head shyly. What a stunner. Big Tooth, that fool, actually left such a stunner behind. He opened his arms and hugged the mute girl. However, at that moment, the mute girl picked up the stone knife on her back and stabbed at Big Bird's leg. Big Bird was indeed careless. Or rather, the mute girl's weak image left a deep impression on him. No one would believe that such a weak woman could wield a stone knife so fiercely and quickly. Pah! Big Bird's thigh was stabbed, causing him to cry out in pain. Bastard, bastard. The mute girl raised the stone knife and slashed at Big Bird again. Big Bird took a step back and raised the leg of lamb he was carrying to block. The stone knife was not sharp, so it embedded itself into the leg of lamb, preventing it from moving. Big Bird. When the attendant outside heard Big Bird scream, he immediately rushed in. Kill her for me. Big Bird pointed at the mute girl and roared angrily. Mute girl's expression was calm and she did not show any fear. What are you doing? At that moment, Wang Zhong walked in with a group of desolate slaves and attendants behind him. These people had a good relationship with him or had received favors from him. When they saw the mute girl being bullied, they spontaneously came over. Big Bird's eyes focused. He never expected Wang Zhong to come so quickly. Blockhead, Your lowly slave actually dares to assassinate me. I'm a brave warrior. You know the consequences of her actions. Big Bird threatened, hoping to see fear on Blockhead's face. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. Wang Zhong sneered, "You were the one who bullied the mute girl first. You even wanted to complain to Five Claws. A brave warrior like you really makes me laugh my head off." With that said, Wang Zhong looked behind him. Everyone look. A brave warrior was actually injured by a slave girl. I believe this brave warrior is not qualified. Blockhead, say that again. Alright, I'll say it again. In this brave warrior test, the mute girl will challenge you to a duel. Do you dare to accept the challenge? During the brave warrior test, one could indeed challenge a brave warrior to a duel. However, normal people would not do so. This was because even the weakest brave warrior was stronger than ordinary attendants and desolate slaves. However, Wang Zhong did the opposite this time, causing the surrounding people to be extremely shocked. As a brave warrior, Big Bird was actually challenged by a desolate slave. Furthermore, the desolate slave was a woman. This was a great humiliation to him. Blockhead, you really want her to challenge me? Before Wang Zhong could reply, the mute girl walked over and shouted, "I challenge you. Then you will die miserably." Big Bird snorted and left with his attendants. After he left, some of the desolate slaves cursed Big Bird. However, most of them were worried about the mute girl. Mute girl, although Big Bird is an ordinary brave warrior, he is still very strong. You should not have challenged him. The wet nurse sighed. That's right. Mute girl, this is really troublesome. Blockhead, you have a good relationship with Tiger. He can speak for you. Wang Zhong waved his hand and said, "Everyone, there is no need to worry about this." The surrounding people found it strange. Blockhead was usually very smart. Why was he like this time? Blockhead also had times when he was muddle-headed. Everyone thought to themselves. Five Claws finally returned with his men. This time, their harvest was pretty good. They had hunted more than 50 different kinds of prey. That night, a grand barbecue ceremony was held in the camp. This was also the happiest day for the desolate slaves. This was because everyone could eat delicious food today. However, no one noticed that Wang Zhong and the mute girl did not participate in this ceremony. There were still a few days before the brave warrior test. Wang Zhong had to train the mute girl to become a true, female warrior. Chapter 77. Woo Woo Woo. Woo Woo Woo. With a loud horn being blown, the Stone Tribe once again ushered in a new warrior assessment. There were not as many participants as last year. The quality of the participants was also average. Among them, there were 5 slave girls and a few desolate slaves. Just like before, these people would find their own opponents and battle them. After that, they would head to the forest to hunt. Remember the Big Bird's weakness. His thigh was injured by you a few days ago. He will not recover so quickly. You can find his weakness to attack. Also, do not compete with him in strength. No matter how weak he is stronger than you. Below the stage, Wang Zhong whispered instructions to the mute girl. Today, the mute girl was wearing a sheepskin garment that Wang Zhong had personally sewn for her. The garment clung tightly to her body, and her hair was tied up by her. She held a stone saber wrapped in sheepskin in her hand, looking awe-inspiring. After hearing Wang Zhong's words, the mute girl nodded slightly. She could not help but look at Five Claws. As a warrior, the Big Bird was standing there. As if he sensed something, the Big Bird looked over and narrowed his eyes. Although he liked the mute girl, her challenge had infuriated him. To any warrior, this was a humiliation. Only blood could wash away this humiliation. Hence, he had decided that the mute girl had to die. She has to die. The mute girl also made a decision. When she was young, she was bullied by the Big Bird. She clearly remembered that she had accidentally bumped into the Big Bird and was kicked a few times, crippling her for a few days. The first to go up was a male desolate slave. He shamelessly chose a female desolate slave to fight. This female desolate slave was relatively thin and weak. However, at the beginning of the battle, the male desolate slave could not withstand the fierce wrestling attacks of the female desolate slave. Soon, he lost all his strength and surrendered in tears. As for the female desolate slave, she successfully became a warrior. The second to go up was an attendant. As an attendant, he had his pride. He did not wish to embarrass himself. Hence, he chose to fight another attendant. The two of them fought back and forth for the longest time. Finally, the selected attendants couldn't take it anymore and were beaten to the ground. After that, more than 10 people went up. There were strong and weak people among them. Finally, it was the mute girl's turn to go on stage. As soon as she went on stage, she immediately attracted everyone's attention. Firstly, everyone knew that she was a blockhead. Secondly, she was the thinnest slave girl. No one could understand how such a slave girl could become a warrior. I heard that this slave girl even dared to challenge the Big Bird. Behind 5 Claws, a warrior who didn't have a good relationship with Big Bird teased. Big Bird's face darkened. I will use her blood to wash away the glory of my warrior. I want to challenge the Big Bird. The mute girl looked at the Big Bird and shouted, "Hua!" The crowd boiled with excitement. This was the first time in many years that someone dared to challenge a warrior. Moreover, this person was a slave girl. This had never happened in the entire tribe. 5 Claws also smiled and looked at the Big Bird with interest. The Big Bird's face was burning with pain. He walked out of the group and shouted, "I will kill you." The mute girl had already thrown away the stone knife and faced the Big Bird with her bare hands. Big Bird came to the field. It could be seen that his thigh was indeed injured, so he walked with a limp. However, these were only minor injuries. As long as he could use his hands, no one doubted that the mute girl would be easily crushed to death if he caught her. Yeah. Big Bird launched an attack and ran over to throw a punch. His moves were very simple and didn't have any tricks. Some of the desolate slaves closed their eyes. They couldn't imagine how the mute girl would receive this punch. The mute girl would definitely be killed by this punch. Everyone was thinking. However, at this moment, the mute girl suddenly lowered her head. While dodging Big Bird's fist, she threw an uppercut at him. Bang! Big Bird's jaw was struck. His teeth accidentally bit his tongue, causing blood to fill his mouth. It was so painful that tears came out of his eyes. In a moment of desperation, Big Bird hurriedly kicked. However, the mute girl was as nimble as a monkey. She retreated, and when Big Bird retracted his leg, she kicked at his wound. Ah! The pain from the wound made Big Bird frown. He roared angrily and hugged the mute girl. He had already decided to use brute force to crush the mute girl to death. The mute girl began to move. Move! The battle situation was too thrilling. Once the mute girl was caught, she would probably be beaten up. After a while, Big Bird was already exhausted. The mute girl took the opportunity and leaped into the air, kicking at him. Big Bird's chest was kicked and he fell to the ground. There was an uproar outside the arena. Big Bird was actually knocked down by the mute girl. This was simply unbelievable. 5 Claws also nodded slightly. He was very satisfied with mute girl's performance. Big Bird's face flushed red as he roared, "I will kill you! Kill you!" However, just as he stood up, mute girl gave him a roundhouse kick. Big Bird's head immediately tilted as he was sent flying. His huge body crashed to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. Big Bird was really angry. He got up and snatched the stone saber from an attendant beside him. He roared, "You lowly slave, what qualifications do you have to be a warrior? I want to fight you to the death." In fact, Big Bird had already broken the rules, but Wang Zhong didn't stop him. He threw the stone saber at the arena. His actions were self-evident. If Big Bird wanted to fight, he would fight. 5 Claws didn't say anything, which meant that he also agreed to this life and death battle. Big Bird, who had a weapon, attacked even more fiercely. His weapon was very wide and big. It could make a pit on the ground when it smashed. On the other hand, Mute Girl's weapon was much more delicate, but the edges were sharper. The Mute Girl kept dodging as she faced the Big Bird that was coming at her. Wang Zhong smiled coldly. Big Bird was really too weak. His attacks were full of weaknesses. Sure enough, Mute Girl saw an opportunity and flashed to Big Bird's side. Big Bird was just about to raise his saber, but Mute Girl's stone saber had already slashed over. Poochie! The stone saber made a cut on Big Bird's arm that was holding the saber. Big Bird panicked and retreated. The opportunity had come. How could Mute Girl, who had undergone Wang Zhong's special training, waste this excellent opportunity? She took 2 steps and jumped up. The long saber was like a javelin as it pierced over. Chi! The stone saber stabbed into Big Bird's chest. Big Bird grunted and fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open, as if he still couldn't believe that he would die at the hands of a slave girl that he had bullied since she was young. I can't accept this. Big Bird sighed in his heart and fell backwards. Plop! We won. Nanny was so excited that she almost fainted. The other desolate slaves were also shocked. Many warriors even stood up in surprise. Jokes aside, they didn't believe that Mute Girl could really deal with Big Bird. But now she had succeeded. This result was simply unbelievable. Mute Girl left the arena. She was now considered a warrior. From now on, she didn't need to work for Big Tooth. Chapter 78. This time, the Mute Girl successfully became a warrior. Five Claws was not biased. According to the rules, he rewarded the Mute Girl with 2 desolate slaves. As for the rest of the wealth, she had to rely on herself to earn it. There were many ways to earn money, such as raising cows and goats or farming. With this wealth, the Mute Girl, a warrior, could buy desolate slaves in the tribe as long as the owner of the desolate slaves was willing to sell them. That afternoon, the Mute Girl, as a new warrior, followed the group into the forest. Naturally, Wang Zhong followed her. In the end, the Mute Girl was still young. After all, she was a girl. No matter how strong she was, she still needed him to take care of her to prevent any accidents. This trip was daunting but not dangerous. The more the Mute Girl fought, the braver she became. When she faced the attacks of the wild wolves, she remained calm. This made many warriors who doubted her look at her in a new light. However, after today, many warriors had designs on the Mute Girl. They occasionally came over to fawn on her. This was normal. After all, if they could marry a warrior like the Mute Girl, they would have 2 warriors in their family. Be it wealth or status, one warrior could not compare to them. Unfortunately, the Mute Girl ignored these warriors' fawning. The Mute Girl was assigned 2 very thin and weak desolate slaves. They were only 10 years old, about the same age as Wang Zhong. This could not be helped. No matter how generous Five Claws was, he could not give out good desolate slaves. Hence, he usually rewarded people who did not have the ability to work. For example, these 2 slaves were only 10 years old and could only do some simple chores. They did not know much about many things and needed to be taught. However, this was still considered good. When ordinary warriors became warriors, Five Claws would give them to 4 or 5 years old or the old, weak, sick, or disabled. After returning from hunting, the Mute Girl threw the 3 wolves she hunted to the door. Only then did she look at her desolate slaves with Wang Zhong. "What are your names?" Wang Zhong asked as he looked at the 2 slaves, who had their heads lowered and were barely wearing any clothes. "I am He. I do not have a name." The 2 slaves thought for a long time. They lowered their heads, not knowing what to say. Wang Zhong understood. Actually, this was normal. In the desolate plains, the status of desolate slaves was very low. Some desolate slaves without parents did not even have names. Everyone referred to them by their characteristics. Wang Zhong thought for a moment and realized that these 2 slave girls were quite fair. Thus, he pointed at the tallest slave girl and said, From now on, you'll be called Dabai. You'll be called Airbai. From now on, you'll be my men. You'll have to listen to me and the mute girl. Do you understand? This was very understandable, so Dabai and Airbai both nodded timidly. All right, let's go in and change. Wang Zhong frowned when he saw that their clothes were not covering their bodies. He could tell that they did not have a good life in the past. After wearing the clothes designed by Wang Zhong, the two girls were stunned. They couldn't figure out why Blockhead and Mute would give them such precious things. But then something even more shocking happened. The mute girl actually gave them 2 bowls of barbecued meat. Dabai waved his hands in panic and knelt down. Blockhead, mute girl, I don't dare to eat this meat. I don't dare either. Airbai also knelt down. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. Wang Zhong was a little confused. After thinking for a moment, he understood. These 2 girls did not have a good life in the past. The people around them had instilled in them the idea that they were slaves. They were lowly slaves and did not deserve to eat such high-end food. These high-end foods belonged to their master. If they dared to eat these foods, it would be a great disrespect to their master. If that happened, they would be punished. Thus, when they saw that the mute girl was actually giving them such good meat, they were scared to tears. All of you, stand up, Wang Zhong shouted. The 2 girls hurriedly stood up. Wang Zhong handed over the barbecued meat. You'll only have the strength to work if you eat. Do you understand? Eat. The mute girl nodded at them. Only then did the 2 girls eat hesitantly. In the following days, Wang Zhong led the mute girl and the 2 desolate slaves on the road of farming. He was still young, so he had to put aside the matter of becoming a leader. There were 2 things he needed to do. First, earn resources. Only when he had more resources could he buy more desolate slaves and obtain more weapons. He could then establish his own armed forces and seize the authority of the tribe. Second, train the desolate slaves. Although the desolate slaves were pitiful, it did not mean that they were useless. On the contrary, Wang Zhong had observed that the desolate slaves were able to endure hardships and were more loyal. Their only weakness was that their status was too low. This resulted in them not being able to eat well or wear warm clothes. Some of them did not even have a good place to sleep. This resulted in them being short and often falling sick. If they were given the same conditions as warriors, these desolate slaves would not be inferior to any warrior. Next, the desolate slaves had suffered hardships. Most of the desolate slaves actually wanted to live a good life. Therefore, as long as he gave them this opportunity, they would definitely explode with unprecedented strength. Furthermore, since he was the one who provided them with such a life, they would only be more loyal to him. However, he was still too young. Therefore, Wang Zhong had to do the first thing first: earn resources. With Dabai and Airbai's help, Wang Zhong opened up another 3 mu of land. Now, he had more than a dozen cows and sheep. He was like a small tycoon in the tribe. He did not have enough manpower. To make it easier to manage, Wang Zhong paid Big Teeth the price of 5 cows and 1 sheep. He bought the wet nurse and the other 2 male desolate slaves. These 3 people had a good relationship with Wang Zhong in the past. They were very honest people. However, they were already in their 40s. In this era, people aged quickly. Their lifespans were at most 50 or 60 years old. Therefore, Big Teeth was very happy to sell them. While counting the money, Big Teeth even mocked Wang Zhong. I did not expect that there would be times when the smart blockhead is not smart. He actually bought 3 useless people back. His luck is really good. Really good. Of course, Wang Zhong was not stupid. He knew that the wet nurse and the others could not do much work. Therefore, he only let them do some simple work in the fields. He also taught Dabai and Airbai how to farm. These 2 desolate slaves were still young and learned things very quickly. However, Wang Zhong did not plan to only let them learn how to farm. After half a year, Wang Zhong handed over the land and livestock to the wet nurse and the others. Then, he he brought Dabai and Erbai into the wasteland with the mute girl. He wanted to teach them how to fight. He wanted to let them see blood. The transformation began here. Do you see the thing in my hand? This is called a bow and arrow. Aim at the deer over there and shoot, Wang Zhong said seriously as he looked at Dabai and Erbai. Whoosh! An arrow shot out and immediately hit the deer's body. The mute girl excitedly raised the bow and arrow. She had learned this thing early, so she learned it very quickly. Chapter 79. As Mute Girl shot, Big White and Erbai also drew their bows. However, their strength and accuracy were not comparable to Mute Girl's. Wang Zhong's bow was bigger than theirs, so Willy was more ferocious. The deer was killed on the spot. He picked up the bow and weighed it in his hand. He was quite satisfied with the result. This was something he had discovered by accident when he and the desolate slaves were chopping trees. The tree core was very tough. At that time, he wondered if he should keep the tree core and use it to make bows and arrows. Therefore, after he had his own residence, he began to research it. Now that he had a bow, he had to choose a suitable string. Although he had not personally made this bow, he had seen the craftsman make it when he was fighting in the Great Dragon Dynasty. There were two important aspects to this bow. They were the body of the bow and the string. It could even be said that the string was more important than the body of the bow. This was because the body of the bow was not easy to damage, and the string had to be thin and tough. Therefore, the requirements were very high. He remembered that during the Great Dragon Dynasty, the craftsmen used animal tendons to make the bow. Wang Zhong had also chosen some materials a few years ago. Finally, he found a suitable tendon to make a string from the thigh of a type of cow called a flat cow. This type of flat cow was bigger than modern cows. It had flat horns on its head, so it was called a flat cow. After so many years, Wang Zhong had made more than 10 bows. However, he had hidden them at home. Of course, he would not share them with others. This was an important weapon for him to conquer the wasteland in the future. How could he take them out? Therefore, he even brought the 3 women to the wasteland for training. This time, the training lasted for 3 days. On the first day, they familiarized themselves with the bow. On the second day, they used the bow to hunt prey. On the third day, they continued to hunt prey in the wasteland. During this hunt, Wang Zhong caught 5 animals, all of which were dragged back by them. Of course, he could not finish eating so much food. Therefore, he generously gave some to the servants and desolate slaves that he had a good relationship with. Now, many people were saying behind Blockhead's back that he was a generous blockhead. Those who could become his desolate slave would have better days than servants. Days passed. Every year, Wang Zhong would buy 2 desolate slaves. He would train these desolate slaves in secret. Hence, at first glance, his desolate slaves were stronger than others. However, this was nothing in the eyes of others. Wang Zhong had a lot of food and would always give it to others. It was normal for his desolate slaves to grow stronger. In the blink of an eye, 4 years had passed. Although Wang Zhong was only 14 years old, he had already grown very tall. Due to the years of hard work he had put into his training, as well as the reasonable amount of nutrition he had taken in his body wasn't any worse than any other warrior. Big Tooth, who used to love ordering him around, was now a head shorter when he saw him. Now, even if Axe wants to fight with me, I'm not afraid anymore. Early in the morning, Wang Zhong once again began to hit the wooden dummy in his room. He wasn't a warrior yet, so his warrior assessment would be in a few days. He had to step up his training. Blockhead. At that moment, Tiger walked in. Tiger, why are you looking for me? Wang Zhong turned his head and asked. You will be participating in the assessment in a while, right? With your strength, you will definitely become a warrior. I hope you can help me when the time comes. Help you? Tiger nodded. Audiobook is old and is no longer suitable for long journeys. After the assessment, he plans to choose a new leader among us brothers. Wang Zhong nodded. He remembered that when he was young, Five Claws was already in his 30s. After more than a decade, Five Claws was already in his 40s. According to the lifespan of people in the wilderness, he was already considered old. As the boss, isn't Five Claws prepared to support you? Tiger's expression turned embarrassed as he stammered, "My two younger brothers are not bad." Tiger pointed out. One was called Big Ox and the other was called Shanji. Of the two, Big Ox was honest and didn't like fighting for power. However, as he grew older, his ambitions gradually grew. Shanji was the youngest. He was the younger brother of the deceased Axe. Just like Axe, this guy had been very strong since he was a child. A few years ago, Five Claws didn't pay much attention to him because of his young age. Now, however, Five Claws often brought him along. So Wang Zhong understood Tiger's feelings. He had no ability and was a coward. With Five Claws' personality, he naturally set his sights on Shanji and Big Ox. "Blockhead, you are the smartest person in our tribe. You have to help me this time. If I fail, we are all finished." Tiger's words carried a hint of threat, and Wang Zhong's killing intent flared. However, he was also happy. The more chaotic Five Claws' sons were, the better it would be for him. Moreover, Tiger seemed to listen to everything he said. Allowing Tiger to seize his power would only be beneficial to him. "Tiger, what are you talking about? We are brothers. I will definitely help you." Wang Zhong comforted Tiger, then continued, "How does Five Claws plan to choose? After this assessment, we will see who the warriors support the most. Then we will take the warriors who support us out to hunt and see who can catch the most animals." Wang Zhong nodded. Although the final result depended on who had the most support, in essence, it still depended on who had the most support. Because the more people in the team, the more animals they would catch. This was directly proportional. "Blockhead, now I know you have a good relationship in the tribe. You have to help me." "Got it. You can go back." Wang Zhong nodded. Then, Wang Zhong found that Big Ox's men and Shanji's men were chatting nervously with the warriors in the tribe one by one. "Zhao, join Big Ox's side. Big Ox will treat you well." "Well, I will think about it. Please rest assured." Big Water, although Shanji is young, he is as capable as Axe. "If you join Shanji, he will treat you well." "I know. Go back and say hello to Shanji." "I will think about it." Although these two groups were nervously mobilizing the warriors, hoping that they would join their side, it was quite difficult for them to do so without substantial benefits. This was because there were too many people. If they gave something to one person, it meant that everyone had to give something. This was an expense that Big Ox, Shanji, and Tiger could not afford. "Blockhead, I am Shanji's friend." On this day, Shanji's men finally found Wang Zhong. Wang Zhong knew why they came, because Big Ox's men had come to him yesterday. "Blockhead, Shanji asked me to find you to discuss something with you." The man said a few words and finally got to the point. "Support Shanji. When he becomes the chief, he promises to make you an elder." "Great. Go back and tell Shanji that I will think about it." Wang Zhong said the same words as yesterday. After the man left, the mute girl frowned and said, "Blockhead, don't you support Tiger?" "I support Tiger, but I don't want to be their enemy." "Do you understand?" The mute girl nodded. "But their men are mobilizing others to support them." "Why don't you do it?" "Because I don't need to." Wang Zhong shook his head slightly. Sometimes he could help Tiger win the election without mobilizing others. Chapter 80. Looking at the confident Wang Zhong, Mute Girl tilted her head in puzzlement. This was because he could not understand how he could win the support of others without mobilizing them. As the day of the election approached, Tiger became anxious. Be it Dainyu or Shanji, they were frantically searching for other warriors, hoping to win their support. However, there was no movement on Blockhead's side. "Don't tell me Blockhead doesn't want to help me?" Tiger was anxious, but on second thought, it was unlikely. The two of them had killed Axe. If Blockhead did not help him, would he help Shanji? With this in mind, Tiger decided to contact Wang Zhong later. There were only 3 days left until the day of the test. On this day, some rumors began to spread among the desolate slaves and attendants. Shanji had given a warrior 2 goat legs as a gift to gain his support. Dainyu had given a slave girl to a warrior in hopes that she would support Dainyu. The news spread like wildfire. Soon, some attendants reported the news to their masters. When these warriors heard the news, they were immediately displeased. What? Shanji gave a goat leg to someone and did not support me? Are they looking down on me? I'm not supporting him. A warrior snorted when he heard the news. Dainyu is too dishonest. I originally wanted to support him, but I never expected him to be so nice to others. Humph, it looks like Dainyu and Shanji are dishonest. I'll support Tiger. Such a scene occurred in many warriors' homes. Unfortunately, Dainyu and Shanji could not explain it. Even if they wanted to, it was too late. On the other hand, Tiger did not receive any benefits and received a lot of support for free. Most of these supporters were unhappy with Dainyu and Shanji's actions. They felt that since they could not get any benefits from them, they might as well support Tiger. Finally, on the day of the election, Five Claws, whose hair was half white, was helped to the square. Blockhead, how's the mobilization going? I heard that Dainyu and Shanji contacted many people. I'm afraid there won't be many people supporting me. Tiger asked nervously as he glanced at Shanji and Dainyu. Don't worry. Wang Zhong did not say much. Tiger probably would not understand the strategy of sowing discord even if he told it to him. This time, the warrior test began first. Wang Zhong calmly walked up to the stage and casually found a servant that he didn't like. Without any suspense, he defeated him. Following that, the battles continued one by one, and this year's warrior was finally chosen. Next, Five Claws stood up and shouted, I'm very satisfied with this year's warrior assessment. Our stone tribe has produced many warriors again. Good, very good. However, I'm already old. Our tribe should be led by the younger generation. After a long speech, Five Claws finally pointed at Tiger and asked, Who do you think is suitable to be Six Claws? Let's vote for them. This time, it was an anonymous vote. After Five Claws finished speaking, an attendant took a wooden box and handed it over one by one. These warriors would write a person's name on the bamboo slips and vote for that person. Soon, the voting was over. Dainyu, Shanji, and Tiger all looked at the wooden box nervously. Five Claws was personally responsible for checking the tickets. He looked at the pieces of wood one by one, and his frown deepened. This was because he had never expected that Tiger, whom he did not think highly of, would have such a high support rate. After a while, he stood up. I hereby announce that Six Claws will be Tiger from now on. What? Dainyu stood up in disbelief. Isn't there going to be a hunting competition? Why did you announce it directly? It's not fair. Shanji's temper was the same as his brother Axatu's. Five Claws snorted and roared, How dare you question my order? Although Five Claws was old, he was still majestic. His roar made Pheasant and Big Ox shrink their heads and say that they didn't dare. Tiger. Five Claws looked at Tiger. Yes, I'm here. Tiger quickly lowered his head and walked over. He looked a little nervous and said, What's the matter? You're very good. You actually got the support of 2/3 of the warriors. Five Claws nodded with satisfaction. Tiger was slightly stunned. He did not expect himself to be so awesome. Oh no, Wood was so awesome. Of course, he knew that those people did not support him because of him. It must have been Wood who did it. But how did Wood do it? He thought for a while and really could not figure it out. But for him, as long as he became the chief, he did not need to care about that. It was too troublesome. Hearing this, Dainyu and Shanji were both shocked. What the hell was going on? How did Tiger get so much support? No wonder he did not need to go to the hunting competition. Since Tiger got so much support, there was no need to hunt. They could not figure it out. They really could not figure it out. Unfortunately, the situation was set. Tiger was now 6 claws. However, although Tiger became 6 claws, the power was still in 5 claws' hands. He just let Tiger learn how to manage the tribe. As the days passed, 5 claws was getting weaker and weaker. After a year, he finally let go and handed over all the affairs of the tribe to Tiger. Tiger, you're 6 claws from now on. I hope you can manage the tribe well. On the bed, 5 claws grabbed Tiger's hand weakly. Don't worry, I'll do it well. Tiger nodded excitedly. Finally fell. The tribe finally belonged to him. Ha ha ha. Would. 5 claws looked at Wang Zhong. I'll give you one last order. You'll be the elder of the tribe. I hope you can assist Tiger well. Don't worry, 5 claws. I'll do it well. Wang Zhong nodded. After leaving, Tiger could not hide his excitement. He said to Wang Zhong, Wood, I'm 6 claws from now on. Let's have a drink. Let's celebrate. Wang Zhong frowned. Although 5 claws seemed to be giving up power, most of the power was still in his hands. However, Tiger could not wait to celebrate. It was really inappropriate. 5 claws just fell ill. If you act like this, people will talk. Wood, I'm 6 claws now. Who dares to talk about me? Tiger said unhappily. I'm doing it for your own good. Forget it. You're a smart person, but you're too careful. Since you don't want a drink, I'll find someone else. Tiger left. Wang Zhong shook his head. This Tiger was still too inexperienced. However, this was also good. When 5 claws died, with Tiger's intelligence, it would be more advantageous for him to seize power. In the blink of an eye, Wang Zhong was finally 18 years old. Now he was tall and strong. Many female warriors could not help but look at him. They could not wait to eat Wang Zhong up. However, Wang Zhong wasn't someone who placed much importance on relationships. Therefore, he directly ignored these man-eating gazes. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.